Moon gang. Let's roll.
Autobots, roll out. I think that's what they said. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Dumb Money. Good morning, good morning, good morning, or afternoon, or evening, or night, or whatever time it is for you. But let's get some of those ducks rocking in chat. I hope everyone had an enjoyable extended weekend, all thanks to Labor Day, which I don't think anyone really even knows what that holiday is for. But hey, if we get a little bit of a fun, long, extended weekend, we're going to take it when we can get it. I don't think we're allowed to wear white anymore. I don't know why we have that rule, but don't wear white, I suppose. I don't know. It's strange to me. I don't know all these fashion rules and how they relate to holidays. But here we are on the cutting edge of fashion anyway. And once in a while, we're going to talk about relationships. And then like a very small portion of the time, we're also going to talk about the old stonk market. I have to admit, September looks like it's shaping up to be a pretty wild one. From mid-July till pretty much the end of August, we were moving up pretty nicely. And at the end of August till pretty much the start of September, things started to turn. The bull party, potentially a bear market rally, started to be losing a little bit of its steam, and it all comes down to the Fed, F-E-D, the people who decide what interest rates are at, and they clearly have a massive impact on the economy and also obviously on the stock market. So we're going to be talking about that because yes, there are some Fed developments this week, but things really get rocking next week and the week after. So we're going to be looking at all that. I need to point out what's happening in the dollar right now. The dollar is on steroids. It was going full Barry Bonds all weekend, just juicing up, just taking those steroids, shooting it up in its ass. And now the Dixie is running. We might be seeing a breakout. I don't know if this is technically right, but at least on the chart that I have, as far back as my data goes, looks like we might be seeing a new all-time high today. But once again, this is just on my time frame. It could have gone higher previously. It's just not loading in for me. I want to talk a little bit about some individual stocks where the short interest is at on AMC, GME. And then we have to unfortunately cover a very sad, morbid story as it relates to Bed Bath and Ryan Cohen and GME, some sad stuff that developed over the weekend. So I want to quickly get on with that. And then, of course, I'm going to turn it over to all of you in case you have any questions. I want to rip through this as quickly as I can. Let me ask in a poll, though. Let me markets today. All right. Are we going to be green or are we going to be red? All right, let me ask that. And then obviously on Rumble, I would just love a comment. Green, red, your thoughts on the day. We'll get that rock and we'll get a nice base for the day. Hey, if you haven't already, as we're just getting really moving into this today, if all of you watching could please help me out by just destroying that like button, it just helps with the algorithm. I'll be frank with you. The more likes you get, the more engagement, it gets promoted to more people, makes the community bigger, better. We got to just grow this cult as big as we possibly can. And speaking of which, oh wait, as I'm talking about this right now, let me switch this over. Jeez Louise, the dollar about to break out. I just posted this on Locals. Watch the 110.27 level. We're at 110.26. If this dollar gets pumping today, that is no bueno for the overall market. This thing is ripping. This thing's moving. All right, very quickly before we get into all of this stuff, very quick shout out to Public, the sponsor of today's stream. You get free stock, almost up to $1,000 worth, and no payment for order flow, no market makers. It's a broker you can actually trust. This is what I use for my equity. So if I'm in things such as AMC, GME, I now just bought the SPAC that's going to be turning into Rumble, a little bit of Corsair, a little bit of SPY, a little bit of Tesla, a little bit of Amazon. That's all on Public. Free stock, no payment for order flow, no market makers, and it also has a little bit of a social media aspect where you can see what the people, your friends or other people, if you're following them, you can check out my account at Matt_Kohrs. You can see what I'm in. You can see what I'm buying. You can see what I'm selling. You can see what I'm currently holding. So check it out. Free stock, no payment for order flow, no market makers. It's a broker you can actually trust. This is for my equity holdings. And then for my options trading, I use Interactive Brokers. And then for my futures trading, I use TradeStation, just for those of you who are curious. And I do want to bring this up right now just because we are doing a little bit of a specialty thing. This is in the description of the video, but if you go to moongangmerch.com, there's a fanny pack for sale and there's a don't be a fucking sheep for sale. 100%. 100%, actually more than that, because I'm going to be on top of everything, donating more of my own money, is going straight to St. Jude. If you don't want any of this, hey, if you're feeling a little good, every dollar goes a long way. If you just even want to give that directly to St. Jude yourself, there's no reason for it necessarily to come through me. But I figure, hey, it's a good time to just spread a little bit of good in the world. So if you want a fanny pack, if you want a sheep, just so you know, 100% of the proceeds are going directly to St. Jude. And if you don't want any of that and you're like, hey, I just want to donate directly, hey, have at it. And even if you like a different charity better, that's completely fine. The goal of this right here is just to spread as much good as we possibly can. So, hey, maybe you want to take whatever free stock you get from here, that total value. Maybe you want to donate it to something like St. Jude, Ronald McDonald. There are a litany of other great charities. Just throwing out a crazy idea out there. Just want to share that with all of you. And now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the markets. Let's get into what in the world's going on. The U.S. economy looks increasingly like it can avoid recession despite the Fed's rate hikes. Well, that sounds good. Goldman, our team over here at Goldman, saying some positive things. According to Goldman analysts, there are encouraging signs that the Fed can engineer what has become known as a soft landing. That is, it can bring down inflation without major damage to the economy. So it's a very polarizing discussion, conversation, whatever you want to call it right now. There are some fancy bigwigs with all the fancy schmancy pedigrees on the wall who say, you know what? Even though the Fed has not really gotten anything right about this thus far, statistically, they're bound to get something right. So maybe they will be able to sully the situation and give us that smooth landing right on top of the water, and we'll be A-okay. Totally possible. I hope it happens. Then there's other people who are saying, no, this is a ticking time bomb. We're going into the side of the mountain. Please be scared. Goldman is obviously in the former department here. And then we know things like, I believe it's BlackRock, are saying, But to do the best in the market, I wholeheartedly believe that you got to take in both arguments. Don't get caught up in your own echo chamber. It's actually probably more beneficial for you to understand what the opposing side is saying, opposed to just listening to people who you agree with. So let's kind of hop into both sides of the argument here. The investment bank, according to Goldman, said growth is likely to remain well below trend over the next year, but does not look yet overly worrying. So they're basically saying, yes, the numbers are not the best, but they're not as bad as maybe people are perceiving them to be. The bank's analyst said that the recent fall in energy prices is starting to support people's incomes. That said, this is being balanced by a sharp slowdown in the housing market. So the real estate market is taking a breather. I myself was filling up my gas tank the other day. Where I live, it's $3.85. 3 months ago, it was over $5 a gallon. So yes, gas is coming down per gallon. We're seeing the real estate market cool off as interest rates are going up, and that ties back to the Fed. Sharply lower commodity prices, a stronger dollar, and large improvements in supply chain disruptions all suggest that good price inflation will continue to abate. The big one that I've been paying attention to is commodities. And as we're looking at real time, did we just tag a new high? I believe so, in the dollar. So this is the dollar versus the euro, the pound, the yen, that type of stuff. So commodities coming down, dollar going up, real estate coming down. So these are the types of trends that people such as Goldman are paying attention to. Goldman expects a 50 basis point interest rate rise from the Fed in September, followed by 2 25 basis point moves in November and December. But its team noted that there's a good chance the Fed could hike harder given the officials' recent focus on quickly taming inflation. So 25 basis points, unless you're doing a cut or you're staying at neutral, we move in increments of 1/4%. It's either 0, 25, 50, whether you're going up, down, or you're not moving at all, just so everyone knows. It's not like there's such thing as a 12.5 or a 30, or it moves in quarter interest points, just so everyone knows. So Goldman is expecting in 2 weeks, when we have the next FOMC meeting in September, they are expecting it to be 50 right here. But the bonds market is saying actually 2 out of 3 people are really suggesting it's going to be a 75 basis. And I shouldn't say 2 out of 3 people. That's actually not what this means. It's actually just looking at the current rates of bonds of where most money is betting, and 66% chance right now of a 75 bips rate hike, while there's a 34% chance of a 50 bips. So right now, Goldman is actually in the minority in this particular case, just so everyone knows. You can get this on the cmegroup.com. I just want to be a little fair here. There's been times that coming up like to days before the FOMC meeting, this moves very dramatically. So I would take this with a grain of salt right now, because next week, a week from today on September 13th, we get the next CPI report, and that will have a massive impact on what these numbers look like. So for right now, I wouldn't take this as gospel at this moment in time. Also, who agrees with Goldman is Nobel laureate Paul Krugman, says that the Fed can crush inflation without tanking the economy or causing unemployment to soar. So a little bit more in this rhetoric of, yes, it is possible to pull off a soft landing. Let's just see if they can actually do it. But then on the other side of the fence is a person who's pretty popular on CNBC, top economist Mohammed El-Iran, tells investors to get out of distorted markets and pivot to cash and short-term bonds. Stocks and bond markets appear distorted, meaning it's high time for investors to tweak their portfolios. We need to get out of these distorted markets that have created a lot of damage. We are repricing. I don't think we're quite there yet, but we're certainly getting there. The first half has taught us, and what we have again learned since the middle of August, is that stocks and bonds can both go down at the same time. Usually it was kind of like, okay, if you're not in stocks, be in bonds. But right now we're in a scenario where stocks and bonds are going down because the stock market, people feeling a little bit iffy about it because of such a very hawkish actually Fed. But then with bonds, I mean, if people aren't going to end up repaying whatever the underlying is, that's not good as well. In a world like that, you have to look at short-dated fixed income. You have to look at cash as an alternative. So the real issue is which inflation rate. I don't just mean its headline. Is it core? Is it CPI? Is it PCE? It's also, is this year on or is it month on month? So in a weird way, if you look at the Nobel laureate, if you look at Goldman, if you look at Mohammed, they're all kind of saying the same thing, and they're just trying to, like, on the edges of their narrative, paint a slightly different picture. Everyone's pretty much agreeing. You got to pay attention to the Fed. You got to pay attention to the CPI report. The next one is 8:30 a.m. on September 13th. We just got the PCE report. It's all about, is inflation, did it take a momentary breather, or are we actually truly trending downward? Right now, I wish I could tell you. I wish I had that magic crystal ball telling you where this is all going, because if we had that, we would be stupidly rich. But the point is no one is like absurdly confident. We don't know exactly when the shoe's going to drop. If it is going to drop, are we just going to get a squeeze back to the upside? No one knows. That's the market. Like, it's an infinite multivariate equation where all these different variables that come in day over day over day make up the market collective's opinion on the current scenario. And then that leads it to not necessarily randomness. In the short term, I would argue that it's pretty close to randomness. In the longer term, it's going to basically react to what was said at the Jackson Hole Symposium. We were starting to bounce, and then they're like, whoa, he sounds pretty hawkish, and we crushed through an important support level. We're going to get this CPI report. The last time we got one of those, the odds of what the next rate hike were completely switched. So with this is a market where I think it's better to be much more reactionary than predictive. You don't have to have a crazy high position with all this absurd leverage with the like kind of hero call going into an announcement. You could wait for the announcement, you'll miss a bit of the move, and then you just play the development in the right direction. That's my opinion. Maybe you have a much better understanding of where we're trending in terms of the market and the economy, so you already have yours created. And if you do, that's awesome. I hope you crush it. I guess I'm jealous of you because I'm clearly not at that skill level. So on top of all these reports, we do have some other things going on. At 11 a.m. today, the New York Fed 3-year inflation expectations, kind of important. Excuse me. I just want to get to the right one. Labor Day right here. So PMI final. I knew that looked a little bit weird. So that's coming out at 9:45 today. And then we have another report, ISM Services Index at 10. So medium tier reports. I wouldn't say these are massive market impact, but like at 9:45 at 10 a.m., we might see a little jolt in the dollar and the SPY yields, that type of a thing. Throughout this entire week, as I was alluding to before, we have so many Fed members speaking tomorrow, 10 a.m., 12:30, 2 p.m. And that just keeps going. Thursday, we're going to get Jerome Powell. That's going to be a big one. And also an awkward time, 9:10, that one really, really jumped out to me. Another Fed member. And then on Friday, more and more Fed member. Like this whole week is just Fed member. So when they most likely when they get going, we're going to get their general vibe. And I think that will continue throughout the week. I don't think we're going to get some noteworthy amount of dissent opposed to the overall trend that we're seeing from Fed members. But hey, please pay attention to this. You can get it on Market Watch. Also, just a quick side note, on Friday, I won't be streaming this week. Just so everyone knows, I need to take Friday off. I need to do some travel. So Friday, no stream. So we'll be doing, it's a very short week, at least for me, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I know for many of you, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, but I just needed to take care of some stuff before we really get going, which is particularly next week with the CPI report. The week after that, we have FOMC. So in terms of travel, it was most beneficial for me to just try to scoot out a little bit early this Friday. Now, I know I feel like I'm like that infomercial that I'm like, but wait, there's more. Yeah, there's always more. Don't forget about the whole energy situation. Oil climbs 4% after OPEC decides to trim output by 100,000 barrels a day. So this is making the entire energy situation even more crazy. Russia says it will not resume natural gas flows via key pipeline to Europe until the collective West lifts sanctions against the country. So one thing, you have OPEC doing it. They're cutting their output. And then now with this whole debacle with Russia still continuing, the petroleum industry, natural gas, really energy in general right now in Europe is very, very bad. And that's part of the reason why you have the dollar running so much, is because the whole European situation is not good. And then honestly, over the weekend, I was reading some stories to make it even worse, where I believe in Japan and China, they're now seeing additional very large COVID related lockdowns. So the whole thing, this whole macroeconomic picture, not even just in the US, but globally, there's so many things to be paying attention to. A renewed fear in lockdowns. You have an energy situation that seems like it's just barely hanging on by the skin of its teeth. And then within the US itself, it's like, okay, what's going on with inflation? What's going on with the real estate market? There's so many things to go on, which makes being a degenerate gambler in the market that much more fun, because you never know what every day is going to bring you. Is it going to be a really good day, which, let's be honest, just means it's neutral and your significant other isn't pissed off that you blew all of your money, or a normal day where you do lose a lot of money and you end up crying in the shower drinking sangria? This is the time to be alive. What a time, what a time, what a time. Meta got fined $400 million for failing to protect kids' privacy on Instagram. I thought this was interesting just because, Meta is Meta, and I don't know if protection is, it's weird to put those words together, like Facebook/Meta and protection. But anyway, $400 million, guess what they actually did? It was right here, where was it? So it found that the accounts of 13 to 17-year-olds were set to public as their default setting. So basically a little bit of that's an easy coding fix. That cost them $400 million. That's kind of crazy. Do I think that they need to protect them more? Yeah. Do I think that social media at a certain point is very, very good, but on the flip side could also be ruining the entire fabric of society? Yeah, also believe that. But I mean, that's one little basic code tweet that cost them $400 million. Absolutely insane. All right, 5 things to know before that stock market goes dingity ding ding ding. Today, Tuesday, September 6th, the first day of the trading week, because we were off yesterday for Labor Day. It wasn't because Citadel hid the entire market in a dark pool. Stock aims for a rebound. I feel like that was maybe written a little bit too early today. What time was this written? It came out at 7:06 a.m. Yeah, so they wrote that all the way back here. Yeah, we're a little bit down from that level, and we're at this key bottom trend line. If I zoom out right here, this is the futures market for the S&P 500. If this gives way, and then if 3920 gives way, basically the base of this bear channel. Remember, bear channels, higher highs, higher lows. They're called a bear channel though, because they commonly break to the downside. So if this gives way, and if 3920 gives way, I think that pushes 3900, which is essentially the SPY at 390. I don't think it'll be able to hold one more time. We're actually potentially breaking down as I speak. Maybe I should just shut up to stop tanking the market. Anyway, what should we know today? Stock aims for a rebound. I don't agree with that. CVS makes home health care deal. They deal Signify Health. I think they bought them out. Apparently $8 billion. Crisis at Bed Bath. This is probably something, if you're watching this, you already are hyper aware of what happened. At first, when I was talking with the team, I'm like, maybe we shouldn't talk about this at all. But you have to. There's really no way for me to avoid this. So first of all, there was a very, very sad development over the weekend. Bed Bath & Beyond CFO, his name is Gustavo Arnell. On Friday, he ended up committing suicide. He was found in New York. His body was found in New York. Obviously, a super sad situation. I found it absurdly disheartening that it took about -2 seconds for Twitter to make this about them in terms of like other squeezes and that. Like, a man took his own life. A man with a family took his own life. There's no way for me to avoid this particular story. I have to cover it. I just want everyone to know what's going on. Potentially, rightfully so, it's being connected to a lot of the recent developments with Bed Bath laying off 20% of their workforce. There's a new class action lawsuit about insider trading that was levied against Ryan Cohen, and also the CFO here on the left, the gentleman on the left. It's a crazy, sad situation. My own opinion on this will probably, like, it was one thing when people were saying, hey, SEC, look what's going on both sides. Like, there was media who didn't like the ape. They're like, look at them for pump and dump schemes. And then on the flip side, there were the apes saying to the SEC, look to the nefarious actions in Wall Street. Whatever side you're on, I think this is going to be one of those things that now it will turn into a whole SEC DOJ investigation. I think this is now the start of the end game. I don't know which way the end game is going to play out. And this is obviously a very, very negative, sad development. I cannot stress this enough. But now that there is actually a body, I don't think regulators and law enforcement have the ability to possibly look away. Once again, I don't know how the end game is going to play out, but my own thesis on this is it's too really morbid, sad, I guess, headline worthy a piece of news for regulators and law enforcement to kind of turn a blind eye to this. So I want everyone to be well aware, especially because if you happen to be invested in Bed Bath, this has prompted it to be down even further in pre-market trading. It dropped 15% in pre-market. It's currently trading at $7.30. So I just want everyone to be well aware of what's currently going on. Bed Bath currently has a short interest of 36%, cost to borrow of 16, utilization maxed out, and it doesn't, was Bed Bath on the threshold list? I know Ape was, I know FaZe was. I thought Bed Bath was there for a bit, but it is no longer on the threshold list. With it, if you want more information about what particularly happened in terms of like the lawsuits and the layoffs and all of that, you could give it your own Google search. We did cover that last week. I'm just doing my best to keep everyone in tune to potentially their current investments. I don't know. It's just incredibly sad. Like, literally, someone was driven to take their own life. It's so fucked up. So fucked up. A new UK Prime Minister. Yes, Boris Johnson is now out. The partier extraordinaire, and now Liz Truss, I believe is how you say her name. She is now the new prime minister. Stark warning in Europe. What is this one particularly about? What we see on the wholesale market is 20 times the price we have seen 2 years ago. That's why I need to really open discussion with everyone taking responsibility on how to fix that. This ties back to the gas flow thing that we were just talking about. So not only the world of energy. So you have petroleum, you have natural gas. It does go on and on and on. But I don't know if you saw this a little bit over the weekend, but there was like a burn party or something where people were basically burning their recent energy bills. And like some of them were thousands of dollars for 1 month. Like, the energy situation in Europe is not good at all. In fact, actually, if there is anyone in here who's currently in Europe, could you give us an idea of either like the dollar or the percentage spike in your monthly energy bill, because the stories I were reading were extraordinary. Like the spike was through the absolute roof. So if you're watching right now and you're anywhere in that European region, or if you're somewhere else and your energy is also like not just like a little bit of an increase, I'm talking like hundreds of % increase. I would love to get some of your anecdotal like evidence of where this is all going. Would love to. Right now in pre-market trading, the Dow, the S&P, and the Nasdaq are all green. Oil's green. Yields are green. Yields are up to 3.2%. You're kind of seeing that with the dollar literally tagging a new high right there. This greenness, Dow, S&P, Nasdaq, like I said, I'm going to attempt to be a little bit more reactionary today because we are coming off of a long weekend. The monthly candle close on August was not good. We're below the 50-day moving average. So I do see how if we go up a little bit, it could prompt a little bit of a mini short squeeze. But on the flip side, if we push 390 to the downside, I think it's going to break and we might see a quick fall to 385. So for me, I'm not really in the game of being predictive right now. I'm waiting to see, are we holding support? Or are we going through support? Are we holding resistance or are we going through resistance? I'm attempting to be a lot more reactionary today. Now, I do see a lot of you commenting in from 800 gas yearly to 5,000. 2 to 3K on electric. 56% raise announced today in Northern Ireland. Wow. Holy cow. Now, this has absolutely nothing to do with the market, but also simultaneously has everything to do with the market. Archaeologists discover a 17th century Polish vampire with a sickle across her neck meant to prevent a return from the dead. It sounds like we are announcing the newest Twilight film, so buckle up. This is kind of what it looks like. As you really read this story, I kind of think that there was just this Polish chick back in the 17th century who had like a little bit of a bucktooth situation and they were like, vampire! And really, she just didn't have the best teeth. She was in the 17th century and she just had one kind of protruding tooth and that led them to kill her. So in the 17th century, it became a common practice across Poland in response to a reported outbreak of vampires. And the common practice was they would like put the sickle around them. So the idea is like if they got up, it would like at least keep them down. If they got up too aggressively, it would, I guess, like cut off their head. But that's how you fight an outbreak of vampires is you tie down people with buck teeth and you put a sickle around their throat. Wild stuff. Other ways to protect against the return of the dead included cutting off the head or legs, placing the deceased face down to bite into the ground, burning them, and smashing them with a stone. So for any of you who are like, man, I just wish I had a couple extra ways to know how to fight vampires, right there, feel free to screenshot it. And on that note, it's time to check out the market, which just went dingity ding ding dong. Let me switch all these to 1 minute. And as the market is trying to get that breather, wait, what way did you guys vote, by the way? Close green. 58% of you voted green on the day? You're really that confident in what's going on here? 58% of you voted green? Like up? Like we all know that green means up, right? I just want to make sure we're on the same page. Same page with that. All right. The dollar interests me above 110.27. I kind of want to see the first opening 3-5 minutes before we did this. I did make some pre-market trades today, just some quick little dingers, a couple little bunts, 2 bunts, so 1K each. I'll do 2 more trades today, one ideally out of the gate. Actually, if I took your trade, I probably already would have made that money. So once again, you guys are always spot on. I wanted to see the reaction to Bed Bath. And then we also have the AMC Ape combo over here, which has quite a bit of room to make back up. We're currently trading at $13.79 and the base value we're comparing it to is $18. So it's about $4.20 to go just for that Friday, August the 19th break even value. The dollar kind of flat right now as we're waiting for the opening. Please do not forget that we have an announcement, I believe at 9:45. There's a 9:45 announcement today and a 10 a.m. right here. S&P, we get the PMI number, PMI services, and then ISM services. So that's at 9:45, 10 a.m. respectively, just so everyone knows. Out of the gate, let's see what people in the world of options are doing. 60% put premium, but really we are only 1 minute into the day, so please take that with a grain of salt. Please, please, please take that with a grain of salt. All right, let's see how this is all going. And as that's happening, did I miss any questions there? No. Okay, cool. As we're waiting for this to all kind of build out, what kind of questions you have for the day? Turnaround Tuesday. Yeah, but turnaround Tuesday, Friday, I don't think we technically dropped enough. Like a red Friday does lean to turnaround Tuesday, but the odds of a turnaround Tuesday are higher the more red on Monday it is, or the day before. What's the deal with Ethereum Classic? We will be talking about ETH and ETH Classic and the merge and all that in just a little bit. I was going to kind of wait like an hour just for the market to kind of settle down a little bit. But yes, we do have additional developments in the world of crypto just because ETH is getting one step closer to being proof of stake instead of proof of work. Actually, we're about 1 week out from the official switcheroo. The official switcheroo. I see the dollar kind of popping right here. I see BBY popping. AMC Ape kind of finding its traction on the day. All right, let's slap in our first trade. All right. How do we want to do this? Do I want to do it right here? All right, order filled. So here are the two options. I could either go for two individual trades or I could just go for one good trade. I kind of want to go for the one good trade and see if this gets hit instead of like being in the market that much. So I'm in at 3,900, almost 36, 35.75. I'm looking for a target of 3,930.5 right above the kind of a level people have been reacting to. So I kind of scratched that. I was going to do two trades today, but if I could get this one trade, it's a little bit of an odd week for me. It's a very short week. Like I said, no one was really trading yesterday. The futures market was open yesterday, just so everyone does know. It closed at like 1 p.m. and then it reopened at 6, but the equities market was closed. Anywho, and now I have to take off Friday for a bit of travel. So it's a weird week. Like, I don't know if I'm like fully in the zone. So maybe I like, make sure I didn't drink too much over the weekend, knock off a little bit of the rust, maybe just do this one trade and at least in the DGen futures account, call it a day from there. But I still do have all of those options. I have Tesla puts and I have SPX puts. The SPX puts expire tomorrow, 3,900 strike. I don't even have that brokerage open right now, the trading application, just because I'm afraid of how much I'm down. So I don't want to look at it, kind of out of sight, out of mind type of a deal. But then I also have those Tesla puts, which don't expire until September 23rd. So I have quite a bit of time on those. So anyway, this is what I'm looking for. I'm not going to be changing that much. Let me switch it back over to here. Don't forget, if you're just tuning in right now, if you want some free stock, no payment for order flow, no market makers, no BS, you can get it on public. It's pinned to the top of chat. It's in the description of the video, but up to $1,000 of free stock. And it's a brokerage you can, actually trust. This is where I have my equities. I do my futures trading on TradeStation, and then I do my options trading on Interactive Broker, just for those of you who are potentially curious. But right now what I'm seeing is just an absurdly strong dollar. Not necessarily the weakest SPY. I guess you could see this. We broke down below this trend line. I think the real potential capitulation comes at 39.20 if it doesn't hold there. But we'll have to see. We're just opening up right now, so give this a little bit of time to breathe. The dollar's just being crazy strong with the new potential lockdowns between China and I believe Japan, the energy situation in all of Europe, just wild times. You ain't taking off Friday. I refuse. My apologies. I just figured this was really in all of September the most ideal Friday for me to take off. Fridays have been a little bit more quiet in general, and I think out of all Fridays, this Friday might be the most quiet one, so that's why I decided it for this one. Shout out, Brennan. 3-day week. Oh, what shall we do? Oh, yeah. Stoots. Sava, all Canadians should apply to block scammers from using your social insurance number. Don't know what that's about, but yeah, definitely. If you ever have an opportunity to screw with scammers, I'm a fan of that. I'm definitely a fan of screwing with some scammers. Quick reminder for all of you, especially for people who are a little bit tardy to class today. If you haven't already, make sure you're destroying that like button. It just helps out with the algorithm. If you drop the like on Rumble, it lets us battle it out on the kind of the battle board, I believe it's called, which you can see on the homepage of Rumble. And then on YouTube, it just helps get the live promoted to other people who might have a similar interest as all of us. So as the dollar's doing its thing, I do want to quickly throw out Tesla. Oh, and feel free, if something's going haywire today, if there's a big piece of news, or even if an equity is just going like crazy, or commodity, feel free to shout it out. Always like to kind of hop on that stuff like as it's happening in real time. Who said you could take a day off? No one. I hope you guys don't fire me for it. We did not approve your PTO for Friday. Please report to streams at 9 a.m. EST or Ducks will attack. I do like to think of all of you as my collective HR department. I guess this is my three-day notice. We did not approve your PTO. That's funny. All right, we're seeing what's happening. All right, we're about 8 minutes into the day. We popped a little bit of drift to the downside. Not too much going on right now. The dollar was showing some strength. I have the dollar over here, Dixie, 110.24. I'm kind of watching it in 110.27, 110.28 is the level I'm really watching the Dixie, the US dollar index at. That's when I'm saying Dixie, I'm referring to the US dollar index. Bed Bath popped up to 770, coming down to 738. We're almost down 15% on the day. This should be filling relatively soon. Almost filled. Almost filled. Like I said, remember, we're going for a quick 2.6 thousand.
Order filled.
Bada bing, bada boom. It's just that easy. 2.6K. Welcome to the casino. The degenerate account is crushing it. And we do have a report at 9:45. We have another report at 10 a.m. I kind of just want to call it a day, honestly, on this account for right now, just because that's a good trade. I doubled up my usual profit, so I feel like I kind of already broke one of my rules. So I think we're going to call it there on this degenerate account, and then we're going to go back. So for the futures account, when I say degenerate account, just think futures. And the reason that one's degenerate is because it's so incredibly leveraged. But in fact, let me actually close out of this program right now so I keep myself disciplined. Yes. Okay. So I closed out of that, 2.6K locked in. You guys saw that. How long did it take? I waited till minute 3. That was 9:32. So it took 6 minutes. I feel like that's a pretty good hourly rate. You know, not going to complain about that. So right now, the main active position that I have going are Tesla puts and SPX puts. So equivalent to the SPY. The SPY is an ETF that tracks the S&P 500. I played the S&P 500 directly. The S&P 500 puts are what I'm worried about because they expire tomorrow, and the S&P 500 is trading at 39.28. We're actually almost going for a gap fill, just for anyone who's interested in gap fills. But anyway, I have 3,900 SPX puts that expire tomorrow. And as you can see, I'm out of the money. That's not good. Theta is destroying me and the price is destroying me. So I'm a little bit worried about that one. If the ES breaks through 39.20, I'll feel good, but it could very much bounce off of that level. It's been a level that a lot of the bulls have been reacting to anyway. So I kind of need to closely pay attention to that. And then the other play is Tesla puts a strike price of 250, but that doesn't expire till the 23rd. So I do have quite a bit of time on that. So not so much worried about Tesla. Feeling good. Maybe I'll get lucky with the CPI report next week. Maybe I'll get completely unlucky. I don't know. Time will tell. But what I'm really concerned about today is SPX. Like I said, you have a gap fill to 3,924. It's going to be pretty, like that's, I mean, if you've been here, you know that I play these gap fills all the time. I just took off my profits a little bit early because I didn't like the leverage I had, but it is, the S&P 500 literally is about to get its own gap fill. So that'll be sweet. And then we're really going to see how this stuff starts to play out. Are you still in AMC and APE? Yes, I am. You can see my AMC and APE position on public. Like I said, when I was alluding to kind of the social media aspect of public before, that's what I meant. So if you want to see my positions, AMC, APE, and the list goes on and on and on, you can see it on public. I know a lot of other people just kind of tell you that they're in it. Personally, I think a lot of them are full of bullshit. And in fact, I know some of them are and like actively lie to all of you. But I think everyone should get on a place where they're like actively showing their position. I kind of put it this way. If they're not on a place, if they're not using a brokerage where it's publicly available, such as public, or not just showing you their positions, I just kind of assume they're straight up lying. And I think most of them actually are. Gap fill on what SPY? Well, SPY is a thing. So the SPY is an ETF, an exchange traded fund that is built to mimic the S&P 500 index right here, which is tracked by SPX. So you have things like SPY, VOO that are all constructed to do what the S&P 500 does. The SPY isn't the actual S&P 500. It's an ETF that tracks the S&P 500. If you want to see the actual S&P 500, you would type in SPX. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Very true. Very true. Well, we almost tagged a gap fill. We were off by a little bit. We were off by 40 cents. Let's see. I know you guys were expecting perfection, so we're going to give you perfection. We are going to give you perfection. What else do we have? 1 million adverse random per year, proof damage intentional. Type in Google, on a first website available, open it, click on countries. Shout out, shout out, shout out. I have a quick question on for everyone who's watching on Rumble right now. Great North, Brown, Ubuk. I don't know how to say here. Sensei, Jeffrey. Did you, one of the videos that we had, the Pelosi video, it did okay on YouTube at first, but then YouTube crushed it. I wish I could almost show you it. Like it was going. And you can see right when the algorithm decided to no longer let the video about Pelosi get out, but was so interesting. And I was talking with my team about this over the weekend. Is the exact opposite happened on Rumble. On Rumble, both the videos took off. Both of them started to pick up. And then YouTube crushed it. And then Rumble actually ended up, it like got sent into orbit. It was insane to see the different platforms' reaction to a video about Nancy Pelosi and her husband potentially doing insider trading. Dingity ding ding ding. We just got the gap fill. So I was just curious if you guys saw it because it was so insane. What's going on with Luna Classic? Luna Classic crypto. I don't at all. Luna Classic, I guess, to Tether is Binance USD to Tether. Yeah, we'll look at it. Picking up quite a bit. Is this like what you guys are all talking about? I see no reason I would want to be in this at all. In fact, Luna Classic, if it goes up at all, I think it just ends up becoming like who would. Do Kwon's done. The Terra community is done. It was a game of economic, almost like crossover with sociology of who's going to blink first. And everyone thought that no one was ever going to blink. And then they did, and it came down. I don't see any redeeming aspect of Luna at this point in time. I think it's very toxic. I know it's sad because I know a lot of people had a lot of money in it. I don't see a path in which it comes back. CFEI has been ramping up. What are your thoughts on RUM post merger? Okay, so let's just CFEI, for those of you who don't know, is kind of the SPAC. Well, it is the SPAC deal that Rumble theoretically by the end of this month should be getting merged into. So ideally, Rumble, the alternative media play, will have its own distinct ticker by the end of this month. I'm very excited. The way we talk about AMC, GME, I want to be as transparent as I can. I do have a small position in CFEI, and my only issue with it is that I don't have more. I picked some up somewhere between like 10.20 and 10.30. So percentage wise, my return on CFEI within like a week or two, I bought it in here, maybe this day when it got a little excited on August 15th, something like that. Sometime I believe in August. Anyway, I'm in somewhere in the 10s. I'm already up 20% on it. And I think people are going to be very excited about this SPAC merger to go through. Like I said, ideally by the end of this month, it will be trading. Now, to answer your question of where is it going to be exactly, Honestly, I don't know. I'm excited for more information to come out about Rumble because I think we're going to see some very impressive numbers in terms of like monthly active users, retention, new creators, video like hours uploaded per day. I think the metrics are going to outshine probably pretty much everyone but TikTok right now, just because TikTok is like a monster right now. But I'm excited for it. I have no plans on actively trading Rumble. I want to invest in it. My position, like I said, I just wish it was a little bit bigger, and I want to hold this for years and years and years. Maybe in the future, if there's volatility, maybe I'll actively trade some options on it. But in terms of my equity investment in CFVI, which will get transformed into Rumble, I just want to hold, just because I think the way we see things going on, I think alternative media options that are clearly making freedom of speech like their paramount direction, I think that's a good investment. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. I don't know. I'm not telling anyone to buy or sell. I'm telling you my thoughts and opinions. Maybe you agree, maybe you disagree, and I'm just letting you know what I do with my money. And in fact, speaking about public, where you can see what I'm on, you can see that my CFVI is there. You can see that I bought it, I don't know, like a couple of weeks ago, and I do plan on getting a bit more, hopefully. I just feel like it was a bit chasey. Right now, but hey, maybe this is the cheapest we'll get it. In fact, it actually might be looking for a quick downside gap fill, 1194, but I'm excited for this. Like I said, I think not only in the overall market, particularly like the SPY and inflation and that type of stuff, we'll see volatility, but I think we're going to be ideally seeing particular volatility in this thing. And then I'm just curious, like, is it going to be shorted? Is it not going to be shorted? What's the option chain looking like? This is something that I just am excited to have on my watch list and see where this is all going to get going. But I just want to be very clear that I am, yes, already invested in it. All right. So we are kind of at a key make it or break it type of level in the futures market, 39.20. This is exactly why I have it mapped out. So this is for the S&P 500. It just happens to be in the futures market. We have this trend line. It broke below 39.45 was key support and resistance. We came back up. We retested it. It got smacked and went directly to this next level. If we don't bounce off of here, my next level is 3,900 flat, just because it's a key psychological level. But really, my level is 3,885. I want to make this clear. So kind of an important level, more because of psychology. It's a round number, but more so the key support level is 3,885. Just be careful though. I don't know if I'd be aggressively shorting at this level because we have a report that just came out. I guess I'm already late 4 minutes ago. The PMI service number just came out. We'll check that out. But also just be careful. The RSI is already oversold. We do see a little bit of bullish divergence. So I wouldn't be that surprised if it takes a little bit of a bounce and then retest. And then we decide if we're going to officially bounce or break down. It's just the RSI is pretty beat up on the 1 minute, on the 3 minute, on the 5 minute, on the 15 minute. On all these major timeframes, the RSI is clearly in the oversold territory. Does it have to bounce when it's in the oversold territory? Absolutely not. But remember, this is a game of odds, and you just want to play the high odds scenario. Well, maybe you don't. Maybe you want to play the low odds scenario and look for the high payout. Well, I'm just saying, like, it works until it doesn't, and then you blow up. So right now, like I said, the DGen account, I already shut it down. We made a nice trade on that. That was sick. Now moving on, my active positions are a Tesla put. I have some time on that. An SPX put that I need to do something with today. I have no option to really hold this overnight. I'm throwing a bit of a Hail Mary. I hope that low odds scenario of just selling keeps happening, because it would make me like get out without losing much money. I don't even think I'm break even right now. That's why I'm saying like I need to do something with it, but we'll see how this all plays out. So in terms of that report, Walter Bloomberg right here. All right. U.S. services PMI actual 43.7 versus an expected of, no. The expectation was 44.2. So PMI services, not the best. This number coming in lower means not as many services were, I guess, in a weird way delivered as expected. They were expecting a retraction. That's what it means to be below 50%, but it was a worse drop off than expected. They were expecting 44.2. It came in at 43.7. And remember, when you're battling inflation, you want demand to go down and supply to go up. This represents actually supply going down. So not the best. And you don't really need me to tell you that. You could see at 9:45 what happened. We went red and it continued to sell from there. So you don't need my like Jimmy Neutron brain blast take on the scenario. You could just say, oh, wow, the market reacted poorly. Looks like Tesla's bouncing off this kind of double bottom at 270. Tesla, a big support that I've been watching on that now, the recent one is 268. Below that, I will feel way better about my position. Ever since this morning, the SPY has just slowly but surely been selling. Quick reminder that at 10 a.m., the ISM Services Index comes out. 10 a.m., so we have about 8 minutes on that one. I see a couple people asking about it, so I just want to give it to you quickly. The short interest on AMC is right here, 21.3% with a cost to borrow of 18, utilization maxed out. In terms of APE, the short interest is actually lower, 11%. So APE is not as shorted as AMC, but its utilization is still maxed out. And what is different is that it's on the threshold list, which means that we've had at least 5 consecutive days of over 10,000 shares that have failed to deliver. And actually, I believe we're now on day 8. Technically, this is day 8, I believe. So whenever I see that, that definitely does pique my interest of, okay, why are there this many FTDs? Who prompted the FTDs? How were the previous FTDs resolved? How are these FTDs resolved? So whenever I see this little, I guess, moniker, it always makes me, I don't know, question what in the world is possibly going on. All right, let me get back over to this very quickly. So ES, we broke below this level, 39.20. All right, fine. Maybe I'll look at my account to see how fucked I am. I didn't open it yet. This is the options account where I have the SPY options. What's my password? Let me log in. Ooh, brother. Oh, we're going down. Oh, brother. Okay, I'm just logging in real quick. Like I said, 390 is the big test. 390 is clearly the big test. I don't think it holds. We have bounced off it way too many times. I just don't know if there's going to be enough demand there to hold once again. To give you guys an idea of how my current positions are doing, not the best. Down by 7K. So that is not good. The SPX position I'm in, they're currently trading at 24.30, 24.40, and my average is 33, so I'm underwater on that. But on a positive note, the Tesla position I'm in at 520 and they're trading at 640. So we have a little over a 20% return on that. So the Tesla position is in the green. On the day, I'm down a little bit. On the day with SPX, I'm up a little bit, but overall that position is currently down. So that's what I was saying. And I don't even know how bad this would have looked at market open. If I'm down this much now, geez, that would have been brutal this morning. That would have been absolutely brutal this morning. So that's where we're at. Obviously, I've realized nothing today. The unrealized is a loss of 7. At a brief moment, at like 3:30 on Friday, the unrealized gain, it did get back to neutral, and then we got a little bit of a pop into close, so that I went negative. So we'll see how it goes. I would just love to get out of this for break even, and I still like the play. I just need more time. That's the issue with options, and as I stress this so much, one of the biggest issues, whether you're new or you've been doing it or you're an absolute expert, is I just think it's probably a part of human psychology to just not give yourself enough time. You're like, it's going to go in my favor, and it's going to go in my favor right now. And I think that's just, it's a common trap that myself included, a lot of people fall into. So I'm at a scenario where I just need a dramatic sell-off to even be break even, which is not the position you want to be in. But hey, I'll take it. Like I said, when it comes to being skillful or lucky, I would rather take skill 10 times out of 10. We broke below this support at 39.20. We're coming up to my next big test at 3900. I'm getting a little bit hesitant just because the RSI is so incredibly beat up that I just feel like there has to be a bit of a pop. And the pop might turn into a full-on like actual recovery. You never know. But I'm just really paying attention to The RSI, I mean, it's getting absolutely demolished right here. If we look at the stochastics, look how freaking low they are. And even the MACD has been trending red ever since 9:25 this morning. So would I chase this to the downside? Absolutely not. Would I try to catch this falling knife? Absolutely not. You have to wait for some other structures to get formed for you to like confidently build your support and your resistance. Really, you need to wait for things to develop so you can confidently play a reasonable level of risk. All right, so as we let this play out, unfortunately, the SPY is vomiting. Like I said, 390 is my watch level. If 390 does not hold, maybe I need to do this on the SPY so you guys can just see it a little bit better. Maybe I need to go to the 2 hour. See this? Bounce on the first, bounce on the second. This is our third major test of 390. Bounce, bounce. The question is, will the third time be the charm? If the bulls can once again defend it, all right, we're looking back up to this region between 395 and 397. If the bulls cannot defend it, if the bears are victorious, I'm looking for a sell-off to pretty much 385. Maybe a little bit of a stop in 388 region. So like momentary intraday stop, I'd look at 388, but my target on the next sell fully is 385. So let's see. You never know how this stuff is going to go. Like I said, kind of due for a little bit of a bounce. I mean, this was getting pretty bad. Let me get rid of some of these lines just to clean up here. Oops, did not want to do that. I want to get rid of this line. I want to get rid of this line. We're below the 3 moving averages. Clearly, we're trending down right now. Maybe like if you feel like you're just like, no, I know this is going to bounce again. Maybe it's the dip buy right now. I have to admit, I don't necessarily agree with you, especially as we have a report coming out in about a minute and a half, a little bit over a minute and a half till we get that SMI number, maybe whatever it is, another services number. I'm sure Walter Bloomberg will be tweeting about it. What is it actually? Looks like the expectation was 55.5. Yeah, the ISM services index. So they're looking at 55.5. It'll be out in about a minute now. So calm, cool, collected. Tesla vomiting a little bit. Bed Bath down 14%. How's Meta doing after that? Fine. Meta's down 1%. Tried to get going and then obviously lost its way. Apple vomiting all day. Microsoft vomiting all day. Nvidia vomited, but then just kind of basing at 135 and a little bit of change. Interesting. Amazon vomiting. How is the energy sector doing? Occidental vomiting. Exxon trying to bounce, but pretty much vomited all morning. How's GME doing? Popped a little, holding steady, but down 4% on the day, trading at 26.29. AMC's at 8.47. Ape is at $5. AMC's thus far red on the day, while Ape is green on the day. But keep in mind, we're only 30 minutes into the trading day, so let's see how this all actually plays out. What else do we have? Target vomiting. Walmart vomiting, but trying to bounce a little bit. Procter & Gamble. Actually, Procter & Gamble showing some strength. Higher low looks like a cup and handle. Procter & Gamble, interesting. Home Depot vomiting. Take-Two Interactive, not really doing a whole heck of a lot. I'm trying to think of other things. S-Bucks. Let's see what coffee's up to. Coffee industry going down. Tech sector in general vomiting. Small cap sector vomiting. The first 30 minutes have not been a good 30 minutes. All right, the 10 a.m. ISM services report just came out. So let's see how things go. Let's see where this is we'll first see the market reaction, then we'll hop over and see what the Twitter sphere is actually saying about it. What is the Twitter sphere actually saying? ISM 56.9, and they were expecting 55.5. So the first one was a miss according to the median forecast, and the second one was a beat according to the median forecast. So one miss, one beat. And how is the market actually officially relating to it? Market doesn't really seem to care too much. Selling, a little bit of a relief bounce, and it looks like we're selling again. Watch for the retest of 390, 390.50. We are at a key level of support. If it breaks, I think we could see some mini capitulation, but it could also bounce. And that could be, that's why you have to, that's what I'm saying. Instead of being predictive of, oh, it will break or bounce, that's what I'm saying, be reactive. Okay. If it does break down, you could continue to be bearish in the short term, but if it starts to bounce, maybe it's time to switch to bullish in the short term. This is a perfect example of what I'm saying. Be reactive in this environment, not so predictive. The SPY looks like it's about to tag a new intraday low. Tesla did just tag a new intraday low. Microsoft, new intraday low. Apple, new intraday low, breaking a key level of support. We're going down, team. All right, let's see. The big test is coming up momentarily. The account right now, it was down 7K when I showed it to you guys. Now it's down 5. So we're clawing back the losses. Yeah, I already talked about the Bed Bath & Beyond CFO. And if I'm being completely honest, that's not a particular thing that I want to keep readdressing. There's some things that like the news breaks and I know people come in, come out. And like I have no issue reiterating it, but I don't think that's a story that we need to continually cover. I do admit it's worthwhile to cover. I just don't see the point in continually harping on that. It's very sad. It's very morbid. Like you have to realize a life was involved. All right, this is all coming down. Just selling a puke, a market vomit. We're below that 390 level. Okay, so remember, just because you break below it doesn't mean it's a breakdown. You have to trade some actual volume below it. So let's see how things react. I wouldn't be the most surprised if it kind of breaks down, wants to give it a retest. That's kind of the interesting reaction, but I am seeing weakness in Apple, Microsoft, Tesla. Is the dollar just running like a madman? Is that what's going on? Yeah. Oh, whoa. The dollar is ripping. I was watching, what did I say? 110, 27, 28. We just popped to 110. We're going down. Down. Unless you see the dollar is showing no signs of taking a breather. No signs. That's the only thing I think would give the market a bit of a relief is if the dollar, the US dollar currency index, if our girl chills out, yeah, the market might have a chance. But if our girl does not chill out, I think we just continue to sell. Yes, someone, Brennan brought up a good point. Hey, folks, for anyone who is potentially in need, I believe, please correct me if I'm wrong, that the suicide hotline number is 988. There was a 1-800 number, 1-800-273-TALK, I believe. 1-800-273-TALK. Which is 8255. And then they rolled out recently, a couple months ago, with a new hotline, which is 988. For anyone who is in need of it, please use it. Please understand that those resources are at your disposal. Good morning, Matt. For someone new to the market, would you recommend being an investor or a trader? Thanks, I love you. In my opinion, I think everyone should start as an investor because it's just a little bit of a slower moving game. So it gives you time to get money kind of like invested. You have skin in the game, but it gives you time to learn where you don't have to get like bogged down with the craziness and the minutia of a day-to-day move. I think people, in my opinion, should all start as kind of like investors just because it's kind of like the, not necessarily training wheels because like there's still so much to learn. I don't think there's like, you have to learn as much as an investor as you do as a trader. But if maybe you make a misstep, I don't think you're going to be as punished as quickly as an investor as you are a trader. So I think you have a little bit more of a leeway when you're kind of getting your feet under you. Yeah, the dollar is shredding. All right, let's drop it to the 3 minutes so we can see things in a little bit more. Ooh, AMC Ape is also vomiting. They're back to both being red on the day. Far cry from where we need to be at that. Well, obviously the higher the better, but the comparison levels with August 19th where AMC closed at 18. So that's kind of the combination. Oh, brother. I want to talk a little bit about cryptocurrency. We could do that now, just because we see some exciting movement in ETH. So Bitcoin looking sad at 19,700. Looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th official test of 19 and some change. Not looking good. But on the flip side, you could see a higher low in ETH. ETH trading at 1640. ETH is looking good. And a lot of it has to do with the upcoming merge event. 74% of Ethereum nodes merge ready ahead of the Bellatrix upgrade. So just so what all that is, the Bellatrix upgrade is seen as one of the last necessary steps prior to the official merge. And if you want to hear it from kind of the whiz kid who made it all anyway, right here, Vitalik, the merge is still expected to happen around September 13th to the 15th, basically Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week, a week out from now. What's happening today is the Bellatrix hard fork, which prepares the chain for the merge. Still important though, make sure you update your clients. So this is just prepping the chain for the merge, not the actual merge. If you're curious about what the merge is, you're like, yeah, I've heard of ETH, I've heard of this merge. What is it? Basically, the consensus mechanism is changing, as in the way all the ledgers updated. Instead of being proof of work, when you're picking all these mining rigs and they rush to solve a very tough mathematical question, then they update it just to, ensure the validity of the ledger. That's how ETH and Bitcoin are now. Well, ETH is actually going to be switching over to proof of stake, where it's the owners. You have to be a validator, as in you have to own that thing, and then they're randomly selected and they're the ones who update the ledger. This will make Ethereum go from proof of work to proof of stake, different consensus mechanism. But from a financial standpoint, it's also going to make Ethereum, instead of being inflationary, it will convert it to being deflationary, which clearly has impacts on supply, demand, and the equilibrium point, which is obviously the price. So you can check this out on ultrasound.money. And then to cover this up a little bit more, Ethereum's merge starts to hit gaming chip prices. So I just thought this was kind of an interesting real world implication of what's going on from a technical perspective on this crypto project. Prices for GPUs for personal computers are tumbling, which is kind of the opposite of what we've always been hearing of. They're going up and up and up. On the flip side, we're finally taking a breather, and they're going down because of the ETH blockchain's upcoming shift to proof of stake network, which is already reducing demand for chips for cryptocurrency miners. So you need these fancy graphics processing units to do mining, but now that proof of work is kind of going to the wayside in the world of ETH, there's not as much demand for these. So gamers are most likely rejoicing that they don't have to compete with all of the world of crypto, at least for ETH mining. All right, cool. Where are we at? The dollar taking a little bit of a breather, but the market not bouncing much off of it. In fact, the SPY still looks heavy. I think this is a bit of a breather in the dollar, but I think this starts to come back up. And I think ETH, remember my short-term target intraday, I want to see how the reaction is to 388. Maybe a little bit of change. If you're playing the futures market, I would be actively watching 3885 plus or minus a couple points there. We are starting to see a little bit of bullish divergence in the RSI. What that means is we're making a new low, as in the price action is going lower, but the momentum is not following suit, as in the RSI is higher. So price lower, RSI higher. This is referred to as bullish divergence, and it's commonly a sign that you're at least going to get a little bit of a bounce, maybe even just trade sideways for the technicals to cool off a little bit. So I see some bullish divergence on the RSI, and I also see that the MACD, at least on the 1 minute, wants to cross back over. I don't know if I would actually try to catch this falling knife. In fact, I wouldn't try to catch this falling knife because I see still strength in the dollar. I think this keeps going. I think we will tag 3885. I think there's a good chance of the SPY going to 388, and then I want to see the reaction there. So I'm going to continue to hold my position. Maybe. Am I being biased? Of course I'm being biased. Oh, holy shit. I'm positive now. I'm now actually up on this position, but I'm almost back to break even. So I'm in at 32.98. We'll just call it 33. And these are trading at 32.70, 80. I'm almost break even on this. And then obviously these Tesla ones are looking pretty nice. I'm in at 520. These are trading at 7. All of these trades are always posted on local. So if you're curious about like kind of when I get in, my like the exact details of it. And sometimes I post like, yes, update's still here. This is what I'm looking for, that type of a thing. But anyway, on Friday, I had 8 of these SPX puts, and I decided to increase my position by 50% to lower my average. Previously, it was at 36. I bought 4 more. That brought it down to 33. Right now, I'm actually positive on both these trades, and this is cruising. What a day, what a day, what a day, which means I need to now actively continue to watch these levels. Like I said, first target is 3885, which will relate to the SPY being at 388 and some change. I'm seeing strength in the dollar. I'm seeing weakness in the SPY and Tesla. So I'm happy to hold. Patience, patience, patience. If I see a bit of a bounce, yeah, I'm not going to let this go negative on me. I was down 7K this morning. Now I'm up. Even if it starts to bounce, I'll just cut it because the SPX puts expire tomorrow, which I don't like. That's a dumb position, excuse me, for me to be in. And I'm not happy that I'm in it. So I'd rather close it all out and then re-enter if I like the situation to a farther out expiration. So I'll be a little bit like trigger happy on cutting that position today if necessary. The dollar 110.50. I mean, I was reading some stuff over the past week or two of like how the dollar could very well get into the realm of 120. Some people calling out 118, which would just be insane. Not good for the market. What trading platform am I using? For options, I use Interactive Brokers. I think one of their people emailed me, and I could get you a bonus for a sign up if you want to trade options there. So let me like email their team back. That's something that just fell to the wayside. Here we go. Like I said, 388 and some change. We're going to this target of 3885. What's my next target below it? 3860. These are all my targets for the S&P 500 futures market. Let's see. We're going. All right. I want to see this reaction. The RSI is beat up. The MACD tried to cross over. Not the craziest thing if we bounce off of this. We're in my target range. This could very well be the U-turn. If I start to see some buyers show up, I might just have to take my monies and just be stoked. Or maybe the dollar will just keep going. I'll set an alert here, add alert, just so we know if the dollar is breaking out to a new high. I'll lower the volume a bit here so we don't blow out our ears. Could you discuss Bitcoin? I'm in Bitcoin right now. Bitcoin will move the opposite of the dollar. Bitcoin will move in line with the SPY and particularly in line with the Qs as in the NASDAQ. So when you see bearishness in the SPY, the Qs, I would assume Bitcoin goes down, and that correlation has been pretty strong recently. So it moves oppositely of the dollar. And think about that. If the dollar is going up, that means people are storing their money in the dollar, not in Bitcoin. So it makes sense that they have an inverse relationship. Bitcoin, I still believe in the long term. I do not actively trade Bitcoin. I probably should actively trade it just because it has nice volatility. I just don't. I still have mine. Unfortunately, some of mine is locked up on Voyager, so the chance of me ever seeing that again is pretty much fuck all. But I still believe it in the long term. We just need to weather the current storm. The market is currently facing a storm, and the storm eventually passes. What's that fancy schmancy country singer? Storms run out of rain, or some bullshit philosophical thing like that. Right now, the market's bad. Let's just be honest. It's so silly for everyone, especially on social media, to run around and be like, buy, buy, buy. It's great. Buy, buy, buy. No, sometimes there are drawdowns. That's fine. You can play it. Just because the market goes down does not mean that your P&L has to go down. Right now, I am making money betting against the market, and it's a great way to hedge your actual core investments, the things I have in my 401k, my IRA, and my public just kind of like diamond hand account. It is okay to actively play the market in whatever direction it's going. If it's going up, you can make a shitload of money. If it's going down, you can make a shitload of money. And if it's going sideways, you're not going to make a shitload of money, but you can still make quite a bit of money by just selling premium. There are so many ways to play the current situation. And to think that the only appropriate way to engage in the market is to just buy stock and then yell about it and tell everyone that everything's always perfectly fine, it's just not true. That's just not what the market is. In fact, I would argue the volatility, usually when you go up in the market, there's the saying, stairs up, elevator down, as in when you go up, it takes slow. You just kind of like melt to the upside. You bleed to the upside. And then when you sell off aggressively. Well, when you're selling off aggressively, another way to say that is it has higher volatility. With more volatility, you can make more money more rapidly. So for you sitting there and you're like, maybe on the fence, you're like, is this time to get involved in the market? Something like that. I mean, this is the time that people make serious money. A little secret of the world of retail trading is most retail traders actually, like, when you hear these stories of like, I turned 30K into $1 million or something like that, like those crazy stories, almost all of those occur in bear markets, because to make that type of a percentage gain, it's a function of volatility, and volatility is here when you're selling off. It's just the way mathematically that this stuff really works out. So if you're listening to this, I don't want anyone to be scared, because I mean, right here, like, I guess I don't show off my accounts to be braggadocious anyway. I just want you to show, hang on, first of all, yes, I'm using my own actual money, like my own, this is a real live trading account with my own money on the line, real emotions, all that good jazz. But it's also a little bit that, like, I'm trying to show you that even when things are a little bit crazy and we're all a little bit uneasy of what's happening next, that yeah, you can still make money. I've also shown you that you could be undisciplined, revenge trade, go on tilt and lose money. I mean, if you've been watching me for any time longer than 1 week, you've seen it all. You've seen me make awesome, great trades where I stuck to my plan and it worked out perfectly. You've also seen me be a complete degenerate asshole and lose it and revenge trade and not take profits and not adhere to my risk. It all happens. That's the world of trading. But the core takeaway, the TLDR version of this, is you make money by knowing the current trend, not just if the current trend's to the upside, if it's to the downside or sideways. If you can properly identify the trend for whatever time frame you're currently in, that's how you make money. That is 100% what you do. You don't have to be permanently bullish. You don't have to be permanently bearish. You don't have to be the person who's like, nah, the market's going nowhere. The name of the game to be a successful trader, which is different than investing, but a successful trader is, can you identify with whatever your time frame is, the current trend? If you're an investor, yeah, that's fundamental breakdowns of a company. You're like, hey, I think Microsoft's going to be bigger in 2 decades, so I'll invest. That's a little bit easier, a little bit more passive. You just kind of sit back. So you can make money so many ways. Just find the way that is appropriate for your life, as in how much time can you dedicate, your personality, as in your risk tolerance or emotional stability or instability, and also your account size. Those are all 3 things that very much need to be considered. Do you have to have a 25K balance on to trade options on Interactive Brokers? You don't have to, but you're still going to be subject to pattern day trading rules. LOL decades? That's what investing is. That's what like a retirement account is. That's like Bitcoin, Apple, Microsoft. I think the safest way to think about those is like, oh, okay, like where do I think they're going in the long run? I'm seeing a little bit of a bounce here, team. And my profits are dwindling. I see the SPY. Remember that breather we were talking about in the dollar? We're seeing the SPY not go up so much on it, go sideways, but I'm seeing the dollar sell a little bit. What a crazy push. I mean, just this morning, we were at what? At 8:30 this morning, we are at 109.90, and the dollar pushed all the way up to above 110.50. That's so nuts. That is, maybe you're just joining in with your market career now, or maybe you've been trading forever, but you don't really care about the dollar. Abnormal move, though. The whole thing involved with the dollar recently has been hyper abnormal. I wasn't referring to when you said decades. Well, who said decades? Decades are a long time. I've almost had 3 of those in my life. A lot of people are scared of Luna because they think I will go all in, that you might go all in. I want to make this explicitly clear. I do not like Luna Classic. I think whatever pump it's currently going through, it ends poorly. I very much think I'm going to be right on this. I mean, it's trading at a portion of a penny when this thing was at like 80, 90 bucks. Like, there's so many bag holders. It's like a bullshit situation. If you like it and you're actively trading it, I hope you make a lot of money. I'm just begging you, respect your risk. If your risk level gets hit, please take it out. And if you're following the trend and you're up money, keep moving your trailing stop loss up with you. This is not something I would throw in money and be like, it's going to be fine. And I'm going to come back to it and I'll be like way richer. No, Luna, the project didn't work. Do Kwon fucked over a lot of people. It ended horrifically. If you want to actively trade just because there's volatility, hey, have at it. That's a lot of people who master that style make a lot of money. And I hope you're one of those people. I'm just saying it's not something I would personally put money and be like, yeah, this is just going to blindly work out. In fact, I don't think it's going to work out. I think Luna concludes pretty much just flat at zero. Is it true about the SEC AMC investigation? Is what true about it? There is an SEC AMC investigation, but to my understanding, it's not clear if they're investigating AMC or if they're investigating something for AMC. The dollar taking a bit of a breather, but this is actually pretty bad for the SPY. So as the dollar pumped, the SPY went down. Now that the dollar's coming down, the SPY is just going sideways. This is running into some serious supply side liquidity problems, as in there's a lot of people selling the overall market. Let's check in. AMC Ape just not looking good today. Bed Bath & Beyond, kind of flat now. Pop sold off, down 16% on the day. GME down 7%. Apple down 1%, trading at 154. We do have support at 153.50. Jeez Louise. Amazon selling, bouncing a little bit, pretty much boring ever since 10 a.m. You see Tesla right there at 267. It broke below that support. It broke below the support, came back up, retested it. Tesla looks very, very heavy to me. I'm happy about my position, and I'm happy I actually loaded up on even more puts last week. This, I think Tesla's going to be my big play of the month. I really do. I love the entry. I was stalking that chart like forever. I was just like a crazy hunter cat in the savannah, just waiting for this. And finally, I mean, I did a big talk about this, like kind of in the Discord on locals, and then even here with all of you. I was waiting for this wedge right here. We had this support at 280. I waited for the close below it, and that's exactly where I created the position. The next day, August 34th, as soon I saw this close, I was like, no, that's a breakdown, and I'm looking for the gap fill play all the way to 250.66. I could hide this just to give a little bit more visibility of what I was actually seeing right here. I saw this support at 280. I saw we closed below it on the 30th. I created the position on the 31st. I wanted to give myself time. My target is this gap fill at 250 and some change created between the July 20th and 21st. And thus far, it is working out beautifully. And my risk, I'm going to use a trailing stop loss. This would be my extreme risk of it recapturing this white trend line, but I'm actually it's about to break down even more right here at whatever the low was on September 1st. Let me switch up the color on this. So I have quite a bit of time on this. I have quite a few amount of options. I have 28 put options on Tesla. So if this goes all the way down to 250, if I get in the money, if it doesn't even hold this, if we go to the gap fill and then some, it could shape up to be my best trade of the year. If I were you, if you don't have it, if you're like, yo, I like the sound of that, should I get in now? Personally, I think it's chasing now. I got in, it broke below 280. I waited for a quick pop. I got in at 280, 281, 282. Let's just call it 281. So I'm already it's already trending clearly in my favor. You don't want to be late to the party. Being late to the party in real life is fun. It's cool. In the world of trading, you want to be on time. You don't want to be early. You don't want to be late. Maybe a smidge early is acceptable, a smidge early, but you don't want to be late. You want to be punctual. The market benefits people who are punctual, who are not tardy to class, who show up to the cult meetings on time. The stock market is a joke playing us all. I mean, the stock market's a joke that's making me a shitload of money today, so I'm not complaining. I'm not complaining about this joke. But I am getting notifications that my options are about to expire. They do expire tomorrow. I need to get out of these today. I just thought we'd keep going. The dollar oddly showing some weakness, but people don't seem to care. The Tesla just made a new intraday low. The SPY trading sideways. It's getting a little bit of a pop right now. Like I said, 388 and change was my target. Really, I mapped it out a little bit more concisely on the futures market. Like I said, 3885. How low did we get? We got as low as 3886.75. So off by less than 2 points there. I'll take that. On the short time frame, shoulder, head, shoulder, a little bit of a reversionary pattern. The RSI finally taking a breather. Remember, we called out that bullish divergence. The price action went lower. The momentum was higher. Commonly, a reversion comes after that. We saw the kind of fake out crossover in the MACD, and then it finally crossed over, and we're seeing a bit of a pump there. So we're seeing a little bit of a slight midday turnaround as the dollar is now vomiting. Are one of the Fed members speaking? A Fed member might be getting this going, and if that's so, I definitely will just cut. Right here, Spain, Poland to seek price cap on natural gas imports. U.S. extends its sell. Japan to expend fuel and ammo shortage on islands near Taiwan. All right, so no Fed member stuff yet. What do we have here? PMI, we have all those numbers. How's the options market looking? The options market is very bearish. 70% put premium, 30% call premium. So another week of the bears are running the options market. Jeez. That's crazy. That's nuts. SPY pump makes me sad. To me, this isn't much of a pump. This is, if anything, a little bit of relief. I mean, it went from 389 to 390. It went up $1 when the actual dollar just vomited this much. You can literally see that people are being hesitant of getting into the market right now. How are the Qs doing? Pretty much just looking like the SPY today. The small cap sector is looking, they're all looking the exact same. They're all pretty much tracking with each other. The SPY is down 0.6%. The Qs are down 1%. And the Russell, the small cap sector, is down 1%. So the SPY is actually outperforming the Qs and the Russell, but they're all red today. APE is green. Actually, APE is one of the only green things on my watch list, but intraday still does not look good. And it's green, but it's pretty much break even. It's green by 3 cents. Green by 3 cents. All right, let's see how this is all going. Whoa, the ES got a nice bounce off of that 3885 level. Let's see how this goes. I just don't want to get... Should I have just taken my money there? If this bounces and I had an opportunity to make a small profit and didn't roll, I'll just feel like a dumbass. I'll feel like a actual dumbass, which is most days. I'm not arguing that that's a big change from how I feel about myself, but we'll see how this goes. We'll see how it goes. All right. As things are finally calming down a little bit, I think this shit. And now I'm back to being negative. Jeez, these drop fast. The volatility on these 1-day DTEs all over the map. All over the freaking map. Are you kidding me? I should have been a little bit more reactive to this. I just really did not think that the dollar would take this much of a breather. I thought, if anything, we had this breather, and I thought at 10 right here, this green bar, I truly thought we were coming right back up. I thought it was taking that breather and a smash, not a break below 110.40 and a vomit to the support that we saw. I feel a little bit fortunate that the SPY didn't pop that much of on it, given my current position, but I just was not expecting this. That was aggressive. If the SPY comes back down to 389.50, I think I'll get lucky. But once again, I'm now just talking about getting lucky and not necessarily smart risk reward setups. What about stop limits? How often do you move them up? I keep moving them up while I'm not losing money. I'm missing huge gains. What's your take? I keep moving them up. I don't know how to answer that. How often do I do it? Basically, let's say like I'm long on a position, whenever I see a new support level, when we're a whole support past that, then I move it up to that. So I'm always lagging behind by like if I'm long, one major support level below where I'm at, that'll be my risk. I'm much more focused on just following the trend opposed to trying to like top tick the scenario, because sometimes it goes up and you're like, oh, I'll top tick, I'll get out there. And then it takes a little breather and then it bounces that and it just keeps going. So I would rather do my best to follow the trend. My goal is never to top tick or bottom tick. If it happens, that's awesome, but it's mainly luck involved. I have never met a person, seen a person, read a book about a person, watched a doc on a person who can consistently bottom and top tick. That's not the game of the market. If someone tells you that they're bottom or top ticking commonly, they're probably lying to you, or they're just absurdly lucky. I want to make that explicitly clear that there is no good methodology of like, oh, I know this is the high value, this is the low value of the day or whatever time frame. It's pure freaking luck. Your goal should just be like, did I get the meat of the move? Whatever the move is, whatever trend it is, did you get a decent percentage of that move? That should be your goal. All right, now we're going to see how this goes. So sold, breather, technicals cooled off, a little bit of a bounce as the dollar sold hard. And now we're kind of coming back to say, really, this is a little early to draw the trend line I just got on the SPY, but we'll do it nonetheless because I see some weakness in major tech plays. Weakness, Microsoft looking exactly like the SPY. Apple looking exactly like the SPY, Amazon looking exactly like the SPY, Nvidia looking a little bit different. Actually, semiconductors are looking worse. I mean, remember, Nvidia, they have to now get a special license if they want to do dealings with, China for those GPUs, like crazy stuff going on. I kind of see big risk both ways in the market. Usually I'm a fan of playing, okay, who has more to lose in the scenario? Is it the bulls or the bears? Who are more exposed? And I think the market always has like a funny ability to punish whatever group is more exposed. So in that argument, I feel like it wouldn't be hard to argue either of those sides. So right now you have people who have finally admitted that the market, maybe it was a bear market rally and we're not just going to like easily rip. So I think there's people a little bit late to the bear party. Like I think they're a week and a half late. So if it starts to go up to 398, 399, 400 in terms of the SPY, I think we could see like a mini squeeze and we could pop off of that, just of shorts being forced to cover just because they're throwing in the towel. But then on the other side of it, maybe the bears who are getting in now are not that late to the party because we're seeing additional lockdowns. We're seeing an energy crisis. We're seeing a legitimate like upcoming food famine. We're seeing interest rates numbers where, yeah, they're kind of trending in the right way, but then there's other reports that maybe they're not fully trending in the right way. So I think it's so easy right now to find information out there that will support your bias, whether you are long, short, bullish, bearish, hawkish, dovish, or just straight up neutral, and you think it's going nowhere. I think, especially just with social media, honestly, and the 24/7 news cycle, it's so easy to find something that supports where you're at. And even sometimes you're right. You're like, I think because of global event XYZ, that ABC will happen. And how many times have you been right about that? But then even with you being right, the market's reacted in the opposite manner. When it comes down to it, yes, it's important to be a good informed person. I think that's just honestly how we progress society, of just be people who are more properly informed, a little bit more critical thought, never hurt anyone. But in terms of the market, what really matters to your account is the price action. So whether it makes sense with the news or the earnings, or if it does or it doesn't matter. What at the end of the day, what actually matters is the price action, because the price action is what directly impacts your P&L. So sometimes in my own mind, and I guess the way I'm bringing this up is sometimes like I feel like I'm right about something, and I'll read all this good news and I'm like, oh, I got to be bullish, and then all of a sudden we sell off, or vice versa. It's like I'll read all this bad news and I have a bearish position. I'm like, this is gonna pay big, and then the market pops. And sometimes you might be right. It's just maybe a wrong timing. Maybe you're off by a day. Maybe you're off by a minute. Maybe you're off by a full month. That type of stuff happens all the time. So yes, I think it's imperative to take in the news, to be well informed as you possibly can, but also you don't want to just purely stick to a position because of your interpretation of a piece of news, because sometimes you're just missing the boat by a little bit. Maybe you're potentially misunderstanding it. The most important thing truly is the charts. And that's the most important thing, because that's how you're either making or losing money. Like when Tesla destroys you, yeah, pretty much. Dollars coming back. This is wild today. Usually this type of a situation happens when I have the opposite trade, when I have the wrong trade. So as the dollar popped all morning, the SPY sold. And then the dollar sells off hard, comes back to right where we were at market open, and the SPY barely moved, barely got a pop. And now that the dollar's coming back up, we're seeing selling once again in the SPY. So it's one of those things that, like, when it moves, it hurts you. And then when it's going the opposite way, you have a neutral reaction. Usually when that type of stuff happens, usually I'm the person playing the other side and I'm getting pissed off and saying, like, are you kidding me? But once again, that's just sometimes the name of the game. Sometimes that's just straight up what the market is. Hey, just got here. What did I miss? Not much. Just the start of Armageddon, the start of D-Day. Love the CFI is showing CFEI. Did it gap fill CFEI? Does it tell me my cost basis on CFEI? I want to tell you when I got in, whatever, like a week or two ago. I just want to know my own cost basis. Because AMC and GME, I had to transfer from Webull to public, so things got messed up. But my first CFVI purchase was all in public, so I should have a good... Oh, average price paid 10.07. I am crushing it. All-time gain on CFEI is 23.5%. And I've been invested for exactly 2 weeks. Hell yeah. For those of you who don't know, CFEI is the SPAC merger that ideally should be going through. That's the holding company for Rumbal. Can I please take a look at AUR? Aurora Innovative. I mean, it has volatility. You might get good moves. I would never invest in it. This looks like a SPAC deal that was excited and then it completely plummeted. So I don't like that. I do kind of like this bounce off of $2. Maybe you could get a pop, a continuation above 250. That's kind of exciting. Maybe you could play it back up to 3. Maybe you could play it back up to 330. There might be a trade there. The only issue is if you get it now, you're risking 18% to make 25, to make 35. So if your target is all the way back up here where we were in mid-August, yeah, that's 2-1. I kind of like that a bit more. I do admit this thing might get some momentum, but just given its bigger time frame, I just don't know if the risk is necessarily worth the reward. It's optimally, it's a 2-1 setup. And with this kind of a chart, I'd kind of want even more. It's tough. I think there's better plays in the market right now. I don't dislike the play. It's just relative to the other opportunities in the market. I do believe there are better plays. Shit. What are we doing? The SPY getting a little bit of a breakout right here. Yeah, we're coming back up. The shoulder, head, shoulder, the RSI way too overextended. We got this crossover. Fuck. Optimal time to get out would have been just past 10. I was getting a little bit too greedy with it. I should have got out, waited for the pop, re-entered into a farther out expiration. I wasn't thinking of my Tesla and my SPX puts distinctly when I should have been, when like, all right, Tesla, whatever, you can hold through a pop. The SPX puts, this pop is painful just because theta, every single bar that passes, theta is just eating me alive right now. Theta is just destroying my position. Fuck. Shit. This went from being profitable to now like considerably negative. Son of a bitch. So fucking dumb. Fuck. What a pop. Wait, what just happened? That was like an abnormally good pop. What happened? What happened? What happened? Nope, that's Spain. What am I missing? What are we missing? Walsh. 390 call. What do we have? What is the vibe on the day? USD is spiking and no one likes it. Taking a little bit of a breather right now. What has happened? What's the options market telling us? So previously it was 70% put premium. It's still pretty high. 67.75. We see a big bet coming through on Roblox 45 days out, oddly enough. Hang on. Where was that one? Roblox, 1.16 million. A Roblox call 45 days out. Some Netflix puts just came in. Quite a bit of time out, 73 days. What else do we have? Netflix. Oh, look at all these Q puts for 45 days out. Netflix puts 73 days out. Q puts 45, 45, 45. Someone is throwing serious money against the NASDAQ. We have some SPY puts that just came in, 73 days out. Some SPY calls that just came in. Way more puts, though. Still 67% put premium. Options market. We're an hour and 15 minutes into the day. They are bearish, but the time frames that we're seeing are really 45 days and 73 days. I'm not seeing, there was a 10-day. Someone did a big play, just 0 DTE, like playing the pop and the SPY right now. But most of these are actually even a little bit farther duration. I mean, we're talking about October, November monthlies right now. No one is saying, hey, I think this is happening in the next day or two, which if we really break it down and think about it, yeah, that makes sense because no one's going to make some like crazy call with that big of money, not call as an option, but I'm saying as in like an actual trade with the CPI report a week from now. I think everyone's going to be kind of playing it day to day or like really far out. But like the medium time frame is kind of like the awkward time frame right now. Haha, yes, I took a huge future bet at 38.90, 80x leverage long, went to the kitchen, came back. Daniel, congrats, man. Let me know if I should just send you that money directly opposed to going through our brokers. All right, just got my first 3 call options long, expiration in October. I'm already hooked. Travis, crushing it. Good luck. Your chart needs anchors. That's what we need. SPY. Fucking me right here. I don't know. I see this, like I said, this is going to be brutal for someone. This is either going to be that relief bounce and they rug it and we get hardcore selling and this movement just traps all the bulls, or we get the hardcore full V-shaped recovery today and all the bears like me that overstayed their welcome a little bit too long are going to get forced into covering a little bit later on, which makes it go higher and higher. Today, I just don't see it ending neutral. Someone I think is going to get screwed over big time. I don't know who it's going to be. I am seeing some continued weakness in the dollar, which is bolstering the bull case on an intraday basis. But I mean, we can see that things change very, very quickly. So I wouldn't be taking that as gospel. I just can't believe how fucking dumb I was with that. CFEI, all right, let's go back to AMC plus 8. How's this looking? Popping up a little bit with the market. Everyone who argues about this negative beta thing, AMC and APE, the combination, or probably them individually, I mean, it's hard to compare APE because it just started trading. They don't have a negative beta, and there are very specific timeframes where it has negative beta, but that's because the market was weak and AMC was ripping, and that's only like one very specific time frame. AMC, when you're comparing it, like, does it have positive, negative beta, or is it just like neutral? It has positive beta. if the market does better, there's a better chance of AMC doing better. I want to be very, very clear about this. The whole negative beta thing, I thought it was put to bed like 6 months ago when people started to first bring it up. But apparently it's not. I see more and more people talking about it now. It does not have a negative beta. Bulls look good for a surprise rally, in my opinion. I believe it just because, as I was alluding to a little bit before, of if there's too many bears who are late to the party and it goes up a little bit, they'll probably have weak hands and throw their towel in, which will push it higher. I think we're a little low for it. Like, I think if the SPY somehow drifts up to 398, 399, especially 400, I think there could be a very quick, like, mini squeeze up to like 405 or something like that. I think that's totally, totally possible. But as you can see, we're a ways away from there. If this is a fake out breakout right here that we're seeing, if this is a fake out breakout, as in if we sell back below 390, that is not good. Fake out breakouts, breakout being bullish, a fake out breakout inherently has to be bearish because the breakout failed. Right now, the breakout's holding pretty strong. We are at this key level of 3,920 in the futures market. I'm on the 1 minute chart. On the 1 minute chart, we are seeing a little bit of it being overbought. I suppose what you could do is just watch this trend line. If we bounce off of that, I think the retest is 39.20. We keep going. If it breaks below that, well, that leads us to this next test of 3,900, which is essentially 390 on the SPY. If this is a fake out breakout, that's not good. I think we continue to sell off for the rest of the day. But on the flip side, if we bounce at 3,900, if we bounce off the trend line and retest 3,920, I think that actually sets up a retest of 3,950, which on the SPY is roughly 395. Not exactly, but roughly in that realm. If you need another thing for either confirmation or if you're looking for divergence, you could watch the dollar. The dollar has kind of established a key zone. It's like screaming at us to either watch this bottom line or watch this top line. We have rejection, breakout, rejection, and then we have support. So we're trading above 110. The dollar ripped this morning. It was ripping all the way up until 10 a.m. And since then, we've been taking a little bit of a breather, but we'll see what happens. If it continues to sell, I bet the market pops. If the dollar pulls a U-turn, especially if it makes another run to 110.50, 110.60, something like that, I think the market sells. So those are the things I'm going to be watching as of now that we're almost like an hour and a half into the day. I'm watching to see if the dollar breaks out or breaks down, and then I'm seeing if this breakout on the SPY holds. And if you guys need a little bit more specific, I'm watching the trend line that was created from 1024 to 1036 on the S&P 500. Above that, yeah, the bulls might have a recovery maybe in scope. Even Tesla trying to recover this level, shoulder, head, maybe creating another shoulder right now. We saw that previously on the S&P 500. Right now, we're at decision time. We were selling. We popped right back up to an area of resistance in the overall market. We're seeing some weakness in the dollar. So a couple things to all pay attention to. And I think we're going to get our answer probably, if I had to guess, within the next half hour. I think we're going to know. Is there a conversion for the SPY future to the actual SPY? Not to the SPY future. So this is the S&P 500. So this is trading at 3,922 right now. You would want to do a conversion to the SPX. That's what it would be converted to. So this is trading at 3,922. This is trading at 3,921. So they're roughly the same. And then you would convert the SPX to the SPY. So you wouldn't go directly through the S&P 500 E-mini futures. You wouldn't compare that directly to the SPY. You do S&P 500 E-mini futures compared to the S&P 500. Then from there to the SPY is, I think, a better way to think about it, in my humble opinion. Hey, Matt, do you think AA's pounce has gone to date? What do you mean on that? Has gone to date? I don't quite know what you mean by that. Has gone to... I think the hashtag checkmate thing is kind of dumb. Well, it's like an embarrassing call out because ever since he started the hashtag checkmate, the stocks has like they've gone down. Like there's a considerable percentage loss. So like, how is that a checkmate when your investors are losing money? That actually seems like the opposite of a checkmate to me. Saudi Aramco to lower all oil prices in Europe and Asia in October. Demand zone, 3 call options. Thanks for the test play. If I'm swinging options in a Roth IRA, no tax on gains, does it make sense to sell at close and re-enter next day to avoid theta? I don't think there's like a good generic answer to that, honestly, because I don't know the play. Like sometimes your theta is not negligible, but borderline negligible, and you wouldn't want to miss out on a gap. So I see what you're saying to avoid theta, but what if it gaps in your favor? Then you're missing out on that gain. So it's 6 to 1, half dozen to another, and then mathematically you'd also have to look at like how big is your theta? How big is your theta decay? And obviously those numbers increase the shorter your expiration is. So I don't think there's a good generic answer with that. And also, when it comes to those like types of retirement accounts, maybe this is not right, but like, I don't know. I feel like I would rather just not. I want to do, when I think of like longer term retirement accounts that are tax advantage, I like to do less in those. I like to just kind of step away. Those are the ones that like I invest in some equities and I let it sit. I'm not really like slinging option plays in those. Oh shit. What the fuck is this bounce? I'm getting, dude, those fucking puts. Why was I so stupid? Fuck me. The Tesla ones are fine. It was just these SPX ones that I'm just getting annihilated as the dollar's coming right back down. Fuck. Yep. Well, we held this 39.20, another key level that I'm watching. The next one is 39.45. Jeez. Holy guacamole. The RSI is overbought on the 1 minute, but look also how long we stayed oversold. So as long as you like, there's no rule that like when you're overbought, you have to sell off. It's just people create it to say, all right, like a lot of the times when it gets this extreme, there's commonly a retraction, but there's no such thing as like a guarantee. Dixie puking until 11:30. Is a Fed members talking today or something? You're thinking it pukes for another half hour? Really? Is a Fed member? Is that what we have going on right now in real time? Is a Fed member screwing my position? What do we have going on?
In fact, we've seen the Dow hovering around the flat line. However, the communication services sector is still lagging as a number of growth stocks underperform. Media players like Netflix, Paramount, and Warner Brothers are among the worst performers today. And we're also seeing big declines in a range of tech and media giants, including Disney, Alphabet, and CNBC parent Comcast, all of which are down 1% or more. Carl, send it back to you guys.
Contessa, thanks. Contessa Brewer. Coming up after the break, 65 million people impacted by new COVID lockdowns in China. Meantime, you got the NASDAQ down 7 straight sessions. We haven't done that since a 9-day
A little bit of a bear channel going on. Building upward, higher highs, higher lows. These commonly break to the downside. It's just a question of how long do they build out. And they could just keep building and break down later. As in, you kind of just want to play the extremes of it. Watch for the breakdown. They were trying to get some extra breakouts here, which I thought just represents some strength. Maybe not the craziest thing because we have been seeing some weakness, some extra weakness being represented in the dollar. The dollar is now just vomiting. Shit, I am getting my ass handed to me. Things were great until 10. BBIG finna go. I don't really like BBIG. I would like it a little bit more if there was more pressure on TikTok, but there's not that much pressure on TikTok right now. BBIG does own Low Motif, which is kind of in that world of competition. I think BBIG becomes a legitimate play if, and that's a capital if there's more regulatory pressure on, what's it, like BitDance or whatever owns TikTok. In that case, but until then, I don't like BBIG at all. I like BBIG when it owned Cryptide, but it spun Cryptide off. I do not see any fundamental advantage of BBIG unless there's more regulatory pressure on TikTok. I see a lot of people, and like it gets weird to me when people are all trying to like pump it. Like when I just see more social media, like this chart is awful. That's an awful looking chart. This is all it does. Pump, dump, pump, dump, pump, dump. Like BBIG, its entire history is just pumping and dumping. So maybe you'll get lucky and you'll be in early before another pump, but there's no really rhyme or reason when these happen. So to me, I just don't like the play. It could become an interesting play. It could be. I just don't see it right now. Like that's what I would need to see. I would need to see the regulatory pressure on TikTok increase. Current daily POC on the SPY. If we won't break here, I see it coming down. Are we at the POC? Let me pull up this session volume profile. The point of control I have is we're above that at 389.20. JRW. And the point of control. Oh, are you using? What was that? Are you using Friday's point of control?
New COVID lockdowns and discouraging travel ahead of national holidays. About 65 million people are being impacted.
Beijing extends COVID lockdowns.
Beijing, and she has the latest.
Let's see what's going on here.
Thanks so much, David. Well, according to the nation's top health authority, 65 cities are under at least partial lockdown. Megacity Chengdu has extended its lockdown for most of its 21 million residents till Wednesday. The city of Shenzhen has 18 million people, mostly locked in with no end date. And then the southern city of Guiyang, with its 6 million people, imposed a lockdown over 132 cases. Now, Guiyang is a production base for Tesla supplier CATL, as well as BYD. Fortunately, the numbers are heading in the right direction. They are coming down. Chengdu reported 90 cases from yesterday, Shenzhen 36, and Guiyang 3. Now, Chengdu's efforts to maintain its COVID curbs have conflicted with a 6.8 magnitude earthquake, which shook the region. The health authorities there have had to contend with reports that building managers have been blocking people from running out of the buildings. Now, Beijing also has tightened travel restrictions. As of this week, there are to be no departures and no returns to the capital from any district or county that has had one positive case in the past 7 days. So no surprise that the authorities would be discouraging people from traveling over the Mid-Autumn Festival holiday, which is coming up this weekend and is usually a big family time for a lot of people. Guys?
Eunice, we got about a minute, but, why is China persisting in its zero COVID policy when so much of the rest of the world has essentially moved on?
Well, I think that Beijing has been selling this COVID policy as a big winner for China. At the very beginning, China saw it as something that made it look as though it's much better in the way it manages
the bottom line on that
its lockdowns and its COVID infections compared to the West. And so, there's a lot of questions as to whether or not this policy is going to change, maybe after President Xi, assuming he gets a third term. But then there's also a lot of folks who think that that might not happen. And in fact, there was an indication tonight that suggests that his policies might not change. President Xi just announced that he is vowing stronger state-led systems to create breakthrough core technologies. So another very controversial policy.
All right.
Thank you.
Enough of that. Enough of that. What do we have here? our guy Chris. This is the CEO of Rumble.
Because they offer Tim Dillon too, right?
I think they're doing something with Russell Brand, or they're trying to.
What is Rumble? Who started it?
I love Russell Brand.
I'm not exactly who started it. Not exactly sure. I know Dave Rubin's a part of it, but I don't know exactly who started
Dave's
it.
coming. He's coming
No,
on.
no, Dave.
Podcast.
I'll talk to
Coming on-
Dave.
They're
coming up on a
starting
kid.
to do some stuff where they're getting bigger and bigger names. And if they do that and it becomes popular enough and they can operate the way they're doing it right now with no censorship, it's a
Shit
very
could blow up
interesting.
so quick.
Yeah,
Like Rumble
yeah.
overnight could be.
I would move.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
you know,
boom.
Yeah.
Overnight.
I have 8 shows. You know, not bad. I would move all my shit there if it was worth it.
I think you move. Just have have it there too. You know what I mean? And
The problem
just in
is,
case.
like, it's not widespread with a lot of people yet. But if someone big went over there, like,
Correct.
think about how many people Russell Brand has. If Russell Brand, I think he's got like 6 million YouTube followers now. If he goes over there, I mean, he's already giant. On
Starts
YouTube.
an influx.
And he goes over there, and everyone knows, and they just go to Rumble. It's just a different click you have to do.
Yeah,
it's not that
exactly.
big a
People
deal.
are
Just like
loyal
that,
to
it can
YouTube.
happen.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. I want to get all of your thoughts on it, but for me, the way as a content creator and also as a content consumer, I like having multiple options. We've seen people get deplatformed for wrong reasons, and granted, we've seen people get deplatformed for good, valid reasons where society's like, yeah, no, they shouldn't have a platform. But in general, I mean, myself, I've been deplatformed from YouTube 4 times, where I was terminated 3 times, I think. And then that's how I found out about Rumble. I was looking for options where a place where I could go that I don't become unjustly silenced. And Rumble, as I started talking with them, they're like, yeah, unless you clearly break our rules, which are pretty much just like the way laws are written, you're not going to get deplatformed. So for me as a content creator, it was a safety net that was so obvious. I was like, so you're saying all I have to do is also be on these simultaneously? It was such a no-brainer. It was so obvious to me. And with it, I mean, I've loved the community over there. It is interesting to me to see the different vibe between YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, like Twitter, Reddit. It goes on and on and on. So the Reddit community, or excuse me, the Rumble community opposed to the Reddit, YouTube, Twitter, it's a whole different community, completely different vibe. And I have to say, the way it's played out is better than I possibly could have imagined. And I believe that was Tim Dillon's voice in the background saying, like, overnight, this could become big. And I don't know, like, I don't get any special insight to this type of stuff, but we've seen them sign people such as Russell Brand. You heard Brendan Schaub say he would bring his shows over there, but then they signed Andrew Tate, which was a big deal. I believe you have some politicians from both sides on it. But then what was the recent one I was seeing? I think I saw this on Twitter. Remember that Steve Will Do It from the Nelk Boys, who is a huge creator. He decided, or YouTube decided, he's no longer on the platform. So, like, imagine if Steve Will Do It gets signed over there and they just keep doing this time after time, just getting these big splashy names. I think Tim Dillon's right that it could become, it's already pretty big, and like there's no really such thing as overnight success, but it could seem like that of one day someone could flip the switch, and I think Rumble could just be massive. And like I said, I have an investment in CFEI, which is the SPAC ticker that's going to end up becoming Rumble, most likely by the end of September. It's a small investment. I wish I had more, but to me, it's kind of a hedge against this like censorship, against freedom of speech. But we see it in everything. I know it's easy when it's this type of rhetoric to talk about politics. I talk about finance. I talk about stocks. I talk about funny things, meme things, whatever that is. And I got terminated 3 times. It's not just the world of political discourse anymore. It's just more of, is it an algorithm fuck up? Or is it just people actually don't want you saying what you're saying? And to me, there's no love lost to have that type of safety. And I think as a content creator and consumer, you can't really put a price on that. But yeah, no, obviously would love your thoughts. Oh shit, the dollar's vomiting. That's not good. That's not good for me. I can't take Andrew Tate serious. Well, a lot of people can't. A lot of people don't. Is CFEI Rumble? Yeah, that is. So they're making their public debut through a SPAC. So remember, you could direct list, you could IPO, or right now a popular option is going through a SPAC deal. And that's what CFEI is. It's the vote, I believe, is in 2 weeks. Closer to the end of September. I believe the vote's in 2 weeks. And then Rumble will be trading, like there'll be the ticker change and all that. So if you own CFVI, you might be thinking, well, how do I get my Rumble stock? You don't do anything. One day you'll wake up and you'll open your brokerage and it will no longer be CFVI. It'll be whatever their new ticker is. All right. What are we? I'm seeing the dollar vomit, but kind of a weird reaction. Like it vomited and then the SPY did nothing. And then it was almost a lag result. And then it popped. And now the dollar's vomiting again. And the SPY, like, dude, funky day. At first things made sense. And then around 10:15, we saw some breaks of intraday correlation that we were tracking. I'm just playing these levels. I'll watch this right here. You very evidently have a bear channel. Even though it's trading to the upside, they commonly break to the downside. So I'll be watching that, but I'm mainly, like, more important than this channel, I'm watching these levels. The current tranche we're in is between 3920, 3945. You can get the equivalent levels on the SPY, but I'm just watching. We're in the middle of it. Are we going to break out or are we going to break down? That's what I'm watching. 100%. That's how I'll be playing this. Yes, I was so stupid. I'm like now actually getting frustrated with myself thinking about how dumb this was, that I didn't get out of my SPX puts. Like, so incredibly dumb. I should have cut it. I should have waited for this. And then if there was weakness, I could have re-entered for a farther out expiration. I was a dumbass. I was being greedy. I can't even say like I was on tilt or revenge trading, because all I did this morning was make one open market degenerate trade that was good. So I was just being a straight up dumbass. I just like wasn't thinking clearly. Wasn't on the ball. I guess you could just like chalk that up to greed. I was just picturing like, what if it does sell to 385? Imagine how worth, like how much. Yeah, it was greed. It was pure greed that like fucked me today. And that's a lesson. Right now, I'm getting steamrolled. Bulls and bears eat. Hogs get slaughtered. The bulls were eating. The bears were eating. The bulls are currently eating. But then people like me who are just holding their position when you knew you should have got out are just getting slaughtered. It's a good lesson. Good lesson. It's a painful lesson that I seem to have to be reminded about daily. And fuck, this was dumb, but it is what it is. It is what it is. And there's still a lot of trading left in the day. It's 11 a.m., a little bit past 11. So we have 5 hours of trading. And when you're looking at the 3-minute chart, the 1-minute chart, the 10-minute chart, that's a lot of extra bars. Yeah, bear trade on the SPY was too crowded. That's a little bit what I was alluding to before this. Is I always like to think of like, okay, where are the most people going to get screwed over? And we did have a nice bullish rip from mid-July to pretty much the end of August. And I was like, I think the bull trade's getting overextended. And then we got a pretty brutal sell. And then this time, I think too many people are like, look, I told you, like, we are going to sell. And now I think that some of these bears who relate to the party are about to get screwed, or not about to. They've been screwed since 10:30. Like, they're hemorrhaging money. It is what it is. For some content makers, there will be YouTube last one out, turn off the lights moment, probably. Fuck, this just keeps going. All right, we're coming up to this next level. Fuck, what do I do? So stupid. I'm just hemorrhaging now. Fuck, so dumb. So dumb. All right, I guess I'll hold and then I'll wait for the reaction. I'll wait to see how this goes. I just see the dollar vomiting now. All right, well, maybe I need an out of sight, out of mind type of a thing. This really did work out when I just had the brokerage close, the app close, and I wasn't paying attention to it, but maybe that's what I need to do. Even Tesla, the play that was anchoring me to reality. How do you turn on dark view? I assume in this settings, trading appearance. Where is it? Scale, symbol. I assume symbol, status line, scales, appearance. I thought it would be in here. Trading, events. Maybe a quick Google search, unless someone knows it off the top of their head. I thought it would have been right in settings under appearance. How is it not here? Is it under? Oh, right here. Click on your picture in the top left, dark mode. That's how you do it. Picture in the top left, and then you have dark mode as a toggle. Top left of your account. Oh, I should have been reading it. Thank you. Yeah. So top left is how you do it. Right by your name. All right. What else is going on? Feel free to post your questions. Good morning, Mike. AUR, we did that. Okay, we did that. Cool. Let's see. I'm sure I'm behind on some of your call-ins.
Yo, what's up, man? It's Pizza. Listen, man, I had a thought the other day. It's a little crazy one. Ready? What if World War Z is actually a story about Hot Wheels becoming an envelope carrier for the post office, right? What if Switzerland and the planet Neptune actually in retrograde became the last known hope for mankind? Thoughts? The 5-head move, lessons best. By the way, my cats are eating my dog. Peace.
Pizza always, he's not afraid to tell us the truth. It's always a pleasure when Pizza calls in.
Bro, you're investing for the future? What the fuck? Like, who thinks about the decades in their future and their 401k and their Roth, bro? Like, what? Might as well get the Series 67 and really dig into this shit. Like, so dumb. Like, what's wrong with you? Who thinks about the future? Like, no wonder you're my worst best friend. Hashtag worst best friend. Okay, love you, bye.
Love you, bye.
Hey, Mr. Kohrs. I just want to thank you for taking my call. I'm hearing some news about a potential lockdown in the United States of America, about a potential outbreak of monkeypox. All I know is that if somebody comes to me with some monkeypox, I'm going to rip that son of a bitch off, shove it down his throat, and choke his death. Ain't nobody infecting me with no goddamn monkeypox. Tell you what, shoot, I recommend everybody start working on their rip-off motion exercises. That way we can all just avoid this and not have to do another lockdown. I didn't follow the first one, but this one, I mean, shoot, someone coming at me with monkeypox, I might have to lock myself down. And if I was any more redneck, I'd have to bang my sister. Again. Well, all right.
Again.
I'll everybody out, and y'all have a good day now. All right. Lose money like me. All right, we doing great things. 8 Nation. Okay, goodbye.
Wish you would step back from that ledge, my friend. You could cut ties with all the lies that you've been living in. And if you do not want to see me again, I would understand.
You do have good singers.
The angry boy, a bit too insane. I should know of a secret pain. You know you don't belong.
I think we have inordinately good singers in this group. Just my thesis. Oh, what is this? Ooh. Listen up. We got a little bit of breaking news that relates to the former President Donald Trump and his newest business venture. Exclusive deal partner for Trump's Truth Social fails to get backing for SPAC extension sources. All right, the blank check acquisition firm that agreed to merge with Donald Trump's social media company failed to secure enough shareholder support for a 1-year extension to complete the deal. So what does that mean? A blank check acquisition firm, that's SPAC, a special purpose acquisition company or whatever. It's another way for a company to go from the private market to the public market. You've probably heard of IPOs and an initial public offering. There's also things such as a direct listing, and a third one that really picked up steam in 2020, a third avenue, are these SPAC deals. Basically, it is a blank check acquisition. Like it's a blank check. It's a pile of cash just sitting there. They buy all or a portion of the equity of a company that's private, so it trades on the public market because that's like all it has. And then eventually, if people like on it, they vote on it. If they like it, I should say they vote on it. And then from there, it can go live. But right now, Truth Social was going to go live through DWAC. DWAC was the SPAC play, but it looks like they did not get the extension. At stake is a $1.3 billion cash infusion into Trump Media and Technology Group, which operates the former U.S. president's Truth Social app. Stands to receive DWAC, the special purpose acquisition company that inked the deal. That's not good. The fact that there wasn't enough vote to extend this tells you that there's a little bit less faith in this particular investment. Now, you might decide that maybe it's because of the new revived legal battles for Trump. Maybe it's because of Elon with Twitter. Maybe people were like, well, I'll go over to Truth Social, but then Elon, his buyout bid, maybe I'll give Twitter another try. So there could be various things, and most likely the truth is somewhere in the middle, a mixture of all of these. But overall, in terms of business, finance, what does this mean for DWAC as a play? It's no bueno. No bueno, no bueno, no bueno. I appreciate you sending that in. What else do we have? What other breaking news do we have? Russia to legalize use of cryptocurrency in international trade. So this is coming out on the 5th. Russia is close to pushing legislation for the use of cryptocurrency in international trade. The current conditions, it is impossible to do without cross-border settlements in cryptocurrency. According to the Bank of Russia, the necessary regulatory framework will need it to be introduced. I mean, I like Bitcoin. The fact that, we have this whole fiat scam going on is insane. So I think something that is not being screwed over by the various central banks of the world and has a finite supply. I think we need it. I don't have the most in-depth thoughts about Russia's use of it because I'm just not the most familiar with the situation. But in general, I think really Russia's invasion of Ukraine showcased to the world why we need an alternative store of value, especially when so many people from Ukraine were quickly leaving. It's like, how do you bring your assets with you? Well, Bitcoin kind of highlighted some of the pros. There are cons, but there's also many pros that need to be discussed. What is this? This is just sad at this point. Ukrainian pensioners shoot down 74 million Russian Su-34 jet with a rifle that is awarded a medal for heroism. Have some of that. Ukraine's pensioners shoot down Russia's world-beating 74 million fighter jet. Is this real, or is that like another? Wasn't there something like this, like the Ghosts of Kyiv, and it was all proven fake, and it was just a way to like make people feel like more prideful or something? Is this particular story fact checked? I guess is my question. That's what I need to know. That's what I need to know. What else do we have? I'm sure you guys sent in some reacts. Let's see what else is going on. All right, cool. I think we're up to date there. One more. A new NFT album by Muse tops the charts. Muse is riding the music charts thanks to their new NFT album. I think it was just a matter of time. That is pretty awesome. So this is their 9th album and is titled Will of the People. And it is apparently there's 1,000 of, like, they sold 51,000 copies, but 1,000 of the copies, NFTs of their album. A limited edition collectible. Interesting. The digital release of Will of the People includes a downloadable version of the album and features an alternative cover digitally signed by members of Muse. Whoa. I think not talking about NFTs the way like influencers shield their NFT project. I'm just talking about truly the technology behind a non-fungible token. I think there's so many industries that it could disrupt, with music and really the world of copyright being one of those, but like real estate, just anything that you need to quickly and efficiently prove uniqueness. Really, the digital signature proves authenticity, which is so important in the world of real estate for the likes of deeds, or think about government records, medical records, all of that stuff. I really think non-fungible tokens will help revolutionize. And I think we just need to get beyond this point of dipshit influencers hawking NFT projects that have no true utility. But I think it's exciting. I was making a prediction that I thought music could have been one of the first ones, and not exactly. I didn't think it was going to play out that way with an album, but hey, I think it's pretty cool. Pretty cool nonetheless. FaZe went down. What happened with FaZe? That was on my watch list. I wanted it above 1950. Oh, that one's getting slaughtered. FaZe is a good that's weak. That's a lot of weakness. We broke below all of these lows. We're now at the low of August 23rd. FaZe is a good example of sometimes you have everything on the pre-flight checklist but momentum. And you need that as well. Just because something has a high short interest, it's on the threshold list, it has a high cost to borrow, has a max out utilization, that does not mean it's going to squeeze. And Phase is a perfect example of that. Phase had everything. It was a 4-star setup, but to be a 5-star setup, you need that momentum. You need that bullish price action, which Phase does not have. High short interest, high cost to borrow, high utilization, high threshold, or it's on the threshold list, and yet it's down 16%. This is a perfect example of why you need to check everything off, not just some of them. And this one was missing arguably one of the most important check boxes, one of the most important prerequisites, which was momentum. It didn't really have that bullish momentum ever since it got smacked on August 30th. I was waiting for a recapture of 1950. I would have preferred it above 20. It just never happened, so I didn't see that momentum. Thus, I never got into it. It's a great learning lesson to all of you listening right now, watching right now. Just because you have everything does not mean it's going to squeeze, because that everything on Ortex is not everything you need in terms of the stock, and it's mainly missing out on momentum. Momentum. All right, what's the market doing? Are we bending back over? I would watch this level if you're watching the SPY today. Let's see, the dollar trying to make its fight back. I would watch 110.32, and then if it pushes up to 110.50, 110.60, that's not good. But I'm watching the SPY. Let's watch its reaction to 391.25, and then really watch 390. But it might not even get there again today. If it gets there to 390, I just need to get out for break even at this point. This is fucking embarrassing. It's getting embarrassing at a certain point. Wall Street. What do we have going on? What's going on with our favorite financial advisors today? Oh, the BB. Look at this graph. Dear Americans. Nah, that's too much reading. Bed Bath. I'll fucking do it again. Bullish. BBBY is so stupid low I might buy calls. Jesus. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky will ring the New York Stock Exchange opening bell today, part of the effort to promote more foreign direct investments in Ukraine. Wow. An accurate depiction of my portfolio over the last month. Every ape always. Am I in a cult? No, everyone else is a paid bot. Oh, man. This is so perfectly true of what's going on. Am I in a cult? No, everyone is a paid bot. This year I invested in pumpkins. They're going to be the whole month of October, and I got a feeling they're going to peak right around January. Bed Bath. Metaverse ad intro. Actual metaverse. Yeah, quite a bit different. What else do we have going on? Top 50 companies by market cap in 2022. Well, that could actually be cool. I don't know who it is. So in 2022 by market cap, I mean, it has to be Aramco and Apple at the top there, Microsoft at the top there. Those are probably the top 3. I don't know the full top 10. I know in the US market, but not necessarily globally. Merck, is that big? Oh, wait. These are the top 40. Let's speed this up. Oh, I went too fast. Don't cheat. No cheating. All right. Let's see the top 20. MasterCard and Chevron right on the bubble. All right. 20 is luxury goods. Procter & Gamble, JP Morgan, some other company for beverages. Walmart at 16. NVIDIA at 15. Tencent at 14, ExxonMobil at 13, Visa at 12, Johnson & Johnson at 11. Now we're talking the top 10, TSMC. That's who Pelosi just visited in Taiwan. Meta at number 9, UNH, biggest healthcare play in the U.S., coming in at 8. Then whoa, who the fuck is this? Berkshire, our boy Warren Buffett at 7, Tesla coming in at 6. Now we're talking the top 5. Who's in at 5? Whoa, what a jump. Amazon 1.3 trillion, number 5, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Alphabet, Google, we're talking about the old Googler, in at number 4. And now we're talking about 3. Now we're talking about the podium places, Microsoft, Apple, and the oil play. So Microsoft is number 3. And I bet Aramco is number 2 right now. Oil coming down a little bit. Who is it? Saudi Aramco, number 2, which leads Steve Jobs' brainchild at numero uno. Boom. Apple. What's crazy is depending on when you made this, that HDK play would have been on this list of the top 40. At one point, it was like 15, that crazy Chinese IPO play. Hey, we all learned a little something. All right. That was interesting. That was actually a cool graphic. I like that. I feel like I'll get DMCA'd on that. Want to know the secret of turning 40 into 400? Put $40 into your gas tank and then drive to work. Headed to Wendy's now. That's a good one. 3 days without losing money in stocks. Congrats. That's a new record. Pressing your forehead can help reduce anxiety and stress. Traders. I don't think that works. That makes me just feel silly. That just makes me feel silly. Silly. ASTS. So people are getting all jacked up about ASTS. If I started on Reddit and it ended with murder, Jesus. I figured it would kind of go that way. So maybe that's our sign to get the hell off of Wall Street Bets for the day. All right. Let your questions fly. I have both chats open here. What are your questions? Ask me anything except for the ones that I don't want to answer. Short on Seth. He's already pretty short. How much more does he have to go? Would you rather own Apple or the same amount of money own Alphabet and Tesla? That's a good one. For the long term, the little facts and figures I know about the EV, the world of EV, I just feel like Tesla's going to become massive like a decade from now. Like it's already massive, but I think it's going to be so big. But what I really like is Starlink, which isn't publicly traded. But the company who offers internet to the world, how would that not be a multi-trillion-dollar company? How to play biotech. Pretty much just short. Thoughts on the phase chart? Not good. Looks bearish to me. We broke down below a lot of important recent lows. How to play biotech? Probably just only 9% past phase 1. So statistically, shorting is the way to go. But the ones that do hit it, that might blow out your profits anyway. So probably, unless you have like a PhD level understanding of what the hell is going on, maybe just avoiding the sector. I'm always short on Seth. What is the only food that doesn't expire? Isn't that honey? Like if you properly store honey, it will never expire. Isn't that right? Oh, wait, your name is Honey. So I have a feeling that, yes, you're about to tell me more about honey. Yeah, but fun fact for everyone. I think I learned that from Holes, like that early Shia LaBeouf movie where he's like a prisoner that's digging holes. The Stanley Yelnad, like, treasure and stuff. I think they were eating honey or something in it. Will Starlink become publicly traded? I assume one day, but there's no rumblings about it right now. Will SPX test 3600 in the next month? No clue whatsoever. Haven't followed the market in the past few weeks. Why is AMC dropping that much? That's what the market collective agrees that it should trade at. Some people talk about buy volume and sell volume, and that makes no sense. Volume is volume. For there to be a buyer, like for a trade to go through, you have to have a buyer and a seller. If 10 shares are traded, that means 10 shares were bought and 10 shares were simultaneously sold. If people are referring to buy volume versus sell volume, they're talking about, are you landing on the bid or are you landing on the ask, but not like, oh, there's more buyers than sellers. There's always the same amount as buyers and sellers. The same amount of shares that are bought in a day or the same amount of shares that are sold in a day. That's just how markets work. So why is AMC going down? Because the buyers and sellers are agreeing on the transaction at a lower and lower price. sellers are willing to sell it at a lower and lower price, and buyers are willing to buy it at a lower and lower price. Y'all censored worse than YouTube. Okay. Hey, I'm back. Wait, I'm censored? Like it's hard to find this? How many of you had a tough time finding the stream today? Because if so, just make sure your notifications are on, because you should get a notification when I go live. If you do have your notifications on and you didn't get notified, that's problematic. Matt, stop. You're making too much sense. How much did we raise for St. Jude? It's still ongoing. Speaking of which, if you want to help out with St. Jude, feel free to just do a direct donation. It in no way needs to come through me. But if you want something for it, hey, you could get a fanny pack, an LT Agree fanny pack, or you could get a Don't Be a Fucking Cheap Sheep. 100% of the proceeds over the next 2 weeks are going right to St. Jude. Last time we were talking, it was on Friday. So for Payday Friday, instead of giving away $1,000 to chat, that will be added on to the total donation amount, just so everyone knows. And we'll probably do that again for this Friday, but I'm not here this Friday, so I'll just tell you it's happening. Remember, not streaming this Friday, but the second Payday Friday. So I'll do another $1,000 on top of what everyone does in terms of this. If you want the link, it's just moongangmerch.com, or it's in the description. But yeah, raising money for a good cause. And hey, if you're like, hey, I like that idea, but maybe that's not your favorite charity, that's cool. Donate to the charity that you like. The whole point of this is to use the Moon Gang to spread as much good as we can. It doesn't have to be in specifically the thing that I'm talking about. If you're like, I like charity XYZ better, go for it. Or maybe you're not in the position where like, I don't want to donate money right now. Hey, I don't know, hold the door open for an old lady or something. Like just spread a little bit of good. You guys get the vibe. We understand something that MAGA Republicans in Congress don't. Wall Street didn't build this country. Working people did. As in, there were people elected to office who like argued that. They're like, Wall Street built this. Trying to malign these folks is a huge mistake, even worse when facts are wrong. The tweet proves President Biden knows nothing about so-called MAGA Republicans. They kicked out most GOP reps that put Wall Street over Main Street and Heartland. Plus, there are the facts. See below. Wall Street spent a record $2.9 billion on campaign donations and lobbying in 2019 and 2020. It donated heavily in favor of Biden over Trump. Well, that's embarrassing. A Georgia Democrat received more money than any other current member in Congress. That's really embarrassing. Wall Street didn't build this country. Working people did. But they also elected me. Hell yeah, brother. America's good. Well, that's interesting that Mr. Payne, Charles Payne, smacked it right back into his face on that one. You remember planning windfall tax to counter rising energy bills. Don't worry, be happy. Do people, when he tweets anything, do people just fucking hate him? KSI owns you. Spitting. For sure. Hold. Don't worry, be ratioed. Oh, so it is like a lot of hate, I suppose. Oh, never mind. Inappropriate. Why do people do that? Come on. Don't they know I'm streaming? Don't they care about me? And they're going to get me banned. Continuing recent losses. What else do we have going on? I feel like I'm missing something. Actually, no. Things have gotten pretty quiet. What is SPRO? Ascending triangle. What is NM_flood? What am I watching? Look for volume breakout. This is a penny stock. I'm not the biggest fan of penny stocks. I got hired as a community manager for an NFT project a year ago, and the team still has yet to pay me. I got hired. Ooh, that's embarrassing. That's not good. All right, well, that's enough of that. That's enough of the interwebs for the day. Fuck, we're bouncing back. I was hoping that in the time I stayed away, we would have already come back to exactly where I was, and I would be back to being break even. He's more likable than his brother. Wait, can you, for those of you who know who the Paul brothers are, who do you think's more likable? Who do you like more, Logan or Jake? I thought Logan, and I'm not saying my own opinion, I'm saying I thought the internet's opinion was that Logan was more likable than Jake. Logan's the older one, but he also did that Forrest thing. But Jake is Jake. I don't know. Someone who stays up on to date. I just, this is really bouncing, but I do want to talk about this. So I got like a 30-minute breakdown of the drama. So my completely real girlfriend, she's like, we need to talk. And I was like, oh shit, what do we need to talk about? She's like, have you heard what's going on? I was like, what do you mean, have I heard what's going on? She's like, have you heard what's going on with Harry Styles? I was like, no, I haven't heard what's going on with Harry Styles. And she's like, you haven't heard what's going on with Harry Styles? I was like, no, are you going to tell me? And then she said this whole thing as if she didn't have a fucking like 18-minute PowerPoint ready to go. And I guess there's all this drama with like, what's it? Olivia Wilde, Shia LaBeouf, Florence Pugh, and I think Chris Pine somehow just got involved into like it was all over. And honestly, I should have taken more notes during the presentation. Something about like, I think Harry Styles is dating her, but everyone who supports Harry Styles doesn't like Olivia Wilde or something. And she's the director of a movie, and she's like, we got rid of Shia LaBeouf because he was unsafe for the workplace or some shit like that. And then he publicly came out. He's like, dude, this is like what you sent me, like emails or texts or a voicemail or something, like begging him to come back. And like, it was all over. And then I guess it's kind of funny because now when you realize that social media is just a bunch of different little groups of super ravenous, crazy people, you know, it's easy to think that it's the world of the apes, but it's everyone. Apparently Harry Styles has his own group of just like crazy big fans and supporters, like most likely millions and millions of people. And I guess that this collective has unanimously decided that they don't like this woman, Olivia Wilde, I believe that's her name. And everyone lately, they're like, wait, well, maybe she's fine. Like she kicked out Shia LaBeouf because like, I don't know whatever, like supporting a good work environment. And then it came out that she's basically a liar. And then people pointed out how she's like, was like actively buddies with Harvey Weinstein, like that absolute piece of shit, like way after everyone definitively knew he was a piece of shit. And then something with like I don't know, she had like a slide on the Red Hot Chili Peppers and like someone in the band there. It was fucking blowing my mind. It was all over the place. I don't know how we got started on this, but I do take a little bit of comfort in the fact knowing that there's a lot of crazy internet groups out there and it's not just our own. Dakota, first thing I read, I still like Olivia Wilde. Matt is proving he listens to his totally real girlfriend. It was coming back to me during that. I was like, wait, I think she said this. And then she had cool transitions and all that stuff. It's a hairy situation. Logan begged his brother to fight Tate, probably to save Jake the embarrassment. But then he realized Tate would kick Logan's butt. So he instead bandwagon deplatforming at his excuse not to. Has Logan won a fight? I know Jake has. And I'm going to be honest. Both of them would probably kick my ass. And by probably, I mean I know both of those guys. Jake Paul and Logan Paul. If I had to box them right now or fight them in any form, they would kick my ass. So let's just get that out there. But you really think that Logan Paul would have lost to Tate? Like he at least didn't die when he fought Mike Tyson. Like he legitimately like was in the ring with him. I don't think it was a good fight necessarily, but he didn't get murdered. Move to Florida, buy a gun. I'm in Pennsylvania. The gun laws are pretty lax here, I would say. Logan has never won any, but I mean, he's never won any, but I mean, these are not right, but I would say they're a minimum. When you search these net worths, they're probably a minimum. Estimated net worth is 45 mil. I don't think he's really caring too much. He's like, what, 27, worth a shitload of money? Now I'm curious. Harry Styles is worth almost 100 million, 90 million, 90 million, 100 pounds, 100 million pounds, 90 million. Dude, Harry Styles is 2 Logan Pauls. How much is Jake Paul worth? Allegedly. Bullshit. 310? Seriously? No fucking way. 30 mil. 30 mil makes it, and he's 25. He was born in 1997. It's fucking wild. Some people say 60 mil. Basically, they're all rich. They're all stupidly rich. That's the name of the game. They're all crazy wealthy. Did Tyson eat a piece of Mayweather? I don't think so. Oh, brother, I am so fucked on this play. Cup handle. I'm getting my ass handed to me right now. Fuck, why do I do this to myself? I want to see Matt fight Skrelly. Well, that's more of a fair fight. We're probably the same size. We're closer to the same size than I am relative to the Paul brothers. Like, those are, let's just be, you might like them or not. They're big dudes who, like, clearly know how to fight more than I do. I think my net worth is negative. Hey, we've all been there. Happy anniversary, babe. Our 16-month anniversary. The market's nuts today. It's drunk today. Tesla has made a full, like, checkmark recovery. Big sell-off, slow recovery, but pretty much fully there. The SPY's about to get a cup and handle thing. Dude, I just need a... Fuck, I'm getting so frustrated at this. This is so stupid. So much money. Dude, I'm just hemorrhaging money on this. Embarrassing. You guys did vote green on the day, and thus far, if the market were to conclude right now, you'd be all right. You would be all 100% right ever since this breakout. Dunzo. I was dunzo. Tate has the sword. Yeah, he does carry a sword around his... I forgot about that. React. In a way, do you feel like we kind of discovered Tate here? You need a sports segment on the football season coming up. Yes, I was trying to get like a community betting thing, and I'm still trying. I'm going back and forth with DraftKings on this to try to be like, hey, can you make a league for us? Is that possible? And they are crazy slow to respond. Yeah, they still have not responded. No. Yeah, I followed up with so many emails. They like respond at like... Jesus, no. I'll try to get it figured out. I'm gonna let me follow up again. Would love to have this conversation today if possible. I don't know, maybe one of you could help me craft like a super passive aggressive type of a message of like, hey, you're not doing well at your job at all. Answer me. All sports are rigged. Well, yeah, let's just try to play it. And if it's rigged, that means we could be more confident. We just have to be in the favor of the people who are rigging it. It's easier to win a rigged one. Dixie falling out of bed. It is today, but look at what happened since the futures open. It was as low as 109.40, shot up as high as it's not like it is a shoulder head shoulder. Like this is bearish right here. Shoulder head shoulder. We sold almost perfectly. Oh, the Euro USD is out of parity again. As per my last email. Those are the funny TikToks when people are doing like the anger translations of corporate emails. As per my last email, can you fucking read? Oh, that shit's always funny. Nuts. Well, hopefully I have some positive news because I just want to do a big league bet. How many of you would do that? Could you raise your hand in chat? If we can create a league on any betting website, would you do like weekly bets as a league together or against each other? Just some sort of like moon gang betting. Like, are only like 2 of you interested in it? Are 20 of you interested? Are 200 of you interested? Are 2,000 of you interested in it? I'm curious on how many of you want to throw down on the weekend betting against other moon gangers. Or I guess in support. We could do like community parlays, like we all vet. That's what I was thinking of. One of 2 things. So like we can open up a league and we play against each other, like whatever, $1, $5, something small, just something to do. And then we could talk shit on each other. And then another thing we could do is like on every Wednesday, we could do a big vote and vote on 3 things and like construct a weird parlay together. All right, we got some hands. That's more than 2. We're almost cruising in on 20. $10 to enter, create a pool, winner take all, start a poll. All right, I'll do a poll. Want to bet? Oops. Want to bet in a fantasy sports league? Fantasy. Why is this not working? It's not letting me submit the poll to all you. Want to bet in a fantasy NFL league? Yes. No. All right. Vote. Watch dollar go to like 120 now. 2 weeks ago, I was reading an article of some economists calling out 118 on Dixie, which would be crazy. I would love for you guys to all vote because then that lets me know how angry I should be when emailing DraftKings or FanDuel or all of these. Like if you guys all vote, be like, no, this many people said they would be interesting. I think there's a better chance of them like finally responding to my email. So even if you're on Rumble, if you could just take a hot second to go over to the vote on YouTube, because then I can screenshot the vote and go from there and be like, there's this many people who would actually be interested. How about a fantasy stock portfolio league? That would actually be pretty cool too. That'd actually be really cool. Vote. What else do we have going on today? What else is going on in the world today? Cool. A break. How's the options market looking? You know, it's still bearish, not as bearish as it was, but still dominated by the bears. The put to call ratio is over 1 and 63% of the money is going into puts. That's pretty bearish. Is the market popping right now? Intraday, 100%. Is that going to hold till the end of the day? I don't know. Tesla's looking strong. The SPY is looking strong intraday. It's ripping my face off, but I have faith. I have faith that this is going to work out. What else do we have? What else do we have? There's no way people actually do that every morning. This is some American Psycho type stuff. Are they just making fun of each other? SPY 390 puts respect your stop loss. I agree with that. I agree with that. You should always respect your stop loss. You should always do that. How much? 12K. Are we going to double top here? What are we doing? I'm nervous. I'm nervous, team. I'm a nervous Nelly on this one. What are your thoughts on Tesla in the long time frame? Do you believe the gap fell at 250? Yeah, that's what I'm actively playing. Is Matt short again? Or you? I've just held mine short. Fantasy F1, that'd be pretty cool. Zach finally got into options trading. Oh yeah, like last week he was saying like something. He's like, oh, I don't trade out. Oh, that is interesting. I didn't put that together. That's interesting. What else do we have? A couple earnings, nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. They rocked it. Burning Man. Who are these people? What? Why is this little kid so rich? How'd that little kid get so rich? Doggo. Yeah, not too much going on right now. Even they're on a break. Everyone's just kind of awkwardly sitting through this drift. In the SPY, ever since 10, 12, 10, 15 this morning, all we've seen are higher lows. We're even seeing the AMC Ape combo put in a higher low. The dollar was crazy strong, and now it's just kind of at the bottom end of its like morning range, just kind of chilling out there. Tesla's ripping. Is kind of a weird. It's bullish. Intraday, we're seeing some bullish action right now as of 11:53, which is obviously painful for me to say because my positions are puts right now. So this is just costing me quite a bit of money, but I suppose it is what it is. I suppose it is what it is. Oh, man. What else do we have? Just sideways boring. Yeah, it does feel... Oh, whenever it's boring. TikTok. Is it TikTok investors? Investors of TikTok? What was that? TikTok investors. Here we go. Let's see what they have going.
$95 million.
That's gonna end up DMCAing me probably.
Percent of the trades I've taken this year that were calls. So I trade options, right? So all the calls I've taken, I've won 100% of those.
In the bear market?
This year to date.
Whoa.
In a bear market, 100% of the trades that I've taken were calls. Were 100% winners. Didn't realize it, but 100% of the trades I've taken.
Full of shit. How about that?
a net worth of $500,000 in Cincinnati, Ohio. We went to this restaurant called E&O Kitchen, and the vibes were immaculate. It felt like a really, really financially literate man's version of Nobu in Malibu, California, except in the Midwest and without the Pacific Coast. We started off with some fun drinks, $13 for my wife's, $12 for mine. Here's me checking my net worth to remind myself that it's okay to spend $25 on 2 drinks.
What was he in?
Look how cute my wife is. I'm so blessed.
This has to be fake, right?
Tuna,
no one would do this
and
and just like call out surprise. No one would do
And
this.
then we shared their famous crispy Brussels sprout and kale salad. It was so good. And then I scarfed down every last piece of food to make sure we got our money's worth. And then we had 2 members of the Clean Plate Club. Lastly, I chugged my $13 cocktail. That was definitely not worth it. Here's a damaged $97 with tax and tip. And then we returned home to our crying toddler. We love her so much. How much I spent on a date night as a married couple with a baby and a net worth of
I don't get it. What is this? Play by Google My Get official app from 0 to 70. Boring.
End of the day, you could tell everybody.
What do you do when the government tries to tax your Bitcoin?
And at the end of the day, you could tell everybody go fuck themselves. You can put it in your head, memorize the freaking key, right? And it's here. And then, you know, the classic Bitcoiner response is, oh, yeah, my Bitcoin, I lost it in a boating accident. You ever heard that phrase?
A lot of boating accidents.
And shaved. Did some laundry and then got ready to leave. Went to pick up my friend and stopped by Wawa for a slushie, and you know I had to get some Kohrs. We also went to the movies to watch Bullet Train, and it was really good. Then we went grocery shopping before the end of the night. And by the time I got home, I got my MacBook in the mail, so I was super happy. But I had to stream for a few hours, so I did that before getting really tired and going to bed. Day in the life of a Twitch streamer. Today I woke up.
Wow. It is crazy.
$, you have 3 years to turn it into $5 million. What would you do?
Go find an apartment building that is worth $5 million and put an offer to buy at a 30% discount. So the building is $5 million. You minus the 30%. That put the purchase price at $3.5 million. So you're going to take it to the bank and get a loan on the $3.5 million. The bank only require you to put 25% down, which is $875,000. You still have $125,000 left over. Let's just say minus the closing cost fees, and let's just say the closing cost is about $25,000. That leaves you in your pocket still with $100,000. All this can be done within the next 90 days. Boom!
You just inherited.
Just a 90% discount. What?
My rent is $8K, subscriptions are around $300. I just moved to New York and my life now costs $11K a month. My rent is $8K, subscriptions are around $300.
$8K?
$500 a month.
Who is paying $8K for rent? At 23? Who the fuck is doing this shit?
I just moved to New York and my life now costs $11K a month. My rent is $8K, subscriptions are around $300. Tesla is $500 a month. Equinox is $300. I do Sweet Green every lunch, so it's around $400 a month. Coffee every day will cost you $300 a month. I did a lot of touristy stuff, so it was around $550. And I never cook at home, so it was around $800 a month. And I'm using this app to keep track of it. I just moved to New York and my life now costs $11K.
That's almost offensive. And by almost offensive, I mean that's straight up fucking offensive. All right, $30 leverage.
I only do high leverage. I only do high leverage. Max bidding. Max bidding. Max leverage. Better believe it. Better believe it.
I like how big this
38
monitor.
Leverage.
So unsafe.
Max bidding. Better believe it. I only do high leverage.
Hell yeah. High leverage, or why even get out of bed? Fucking insane. Oh, man. Well, I have a feeling that this is going to get rugged. $300 a month for a gym. Better get a better gym. And also, she had the apartment gym. So if you're paying $8K and I don't get that. Those costs don't make sense. That's BS. That's BS. That's BS. That's BS. Okay. Very quickly, shout out to Public. If you want to see the equities I'm currently in, if you want up to $1,000 in free stock, no payment for order flow, no market makers, check out Public. Hey, if you want to do something maybe good, maybe take the free stock you get, maybe a direct donation to something like St. Jude. Just throwing the idea out there. If you want something cool for it, get yourself a fanny pack, get yourself, don't be a fucking cheap sheep. 100% of the proceeds going to St. Jude. Don't forget to vote in the poll if you want to do a little bit of this like league betting, just something to do. Maybe, I don't know, I feel like we're degenerates from 9:30 to 4. Why not extend it into Thursday night, Sunday, and also some Monday night stuff? Could be something fun to do. I will be posting some content later on today, and then I'll be streaming once again tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Very, very quick and friendly reminder, I will not be streaming on Friday. I do have to do some travel, so I will literally be on an airplane at the time that I would normally be streaming. That's what I have for you today. If something crazy happens, I will start streaming it again if there's like some craziness. But right now, it's actually been kind of like a pretty boring midday session. So don't get chopped up. Don't get chopped up in this like midday bullshit, basically. That's what I have for you. I just want to say thank you for all your good vibes. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out.